All right, y'all, I'm back. I see we got about 15 people in here. I'm going to wait till maybe about 50 people in here. I told y'all I was going to come back and I was going to play the interview with Jernell and Kewana. So I'm back. Shout out to Callie, Takesha. You welcome, Celante. Ivana, how you doing? Hey, Kathy. All right, so we're gonna wait till we get about 50 people in here. Make sure y'all hit the like. Y'all know how we got to do the whole TikTok thing. Hit the like, turn the bell on. Okay. Also, I did set a live goal. I'm gonna try not to do too much talking because I just want to get straight into the interview. So just keep in mind, if we meet our goal, I'll do a half off sale on my ebook. Okay. I'll do a half off sale, flash sale on my ebook, and then we can go about that way. Hey, Knee Deep. Hey. That one. No, don't pull it out. Miss Sexy, you back? Thank you, girl. Hey. I said we're gonna wait a few more minutes so we get about 50 people in the chat, and then I'm a hit play. My Miss Sexy, we just really pushing for the live goal to be met during this live. And as a celebration, I'm doing a 50% off sale for my Healing Trauma ebook, Awakening the Divine Feminine Within. Shout out to everybody that has purchased my ebook. I highly appreciate it, and I appreciate the feedback as well. Also, with every purchase of my ebook, it comes with a free 20 to 30-minute consultation with me. For those that don't know, I'm also a life coach. Okay, so that's that on that. I also do tarot readings as well. I have general reads for 2222, astro and chakra alignment for 3333, and love readings for 4444. Okay, everything is linked in the description. Okay, shout out to everybody that's going to catch this replay. Y'all already know what to do in the comments. Let me know where you're from. Okay, I love to hear from you. No, I was leaving for the night, but then some people said they wanted to see the interview with Jernell and Kewana. So I said I was going to come back and play that interview for y'all. I'm going to be doing minimal talking. I'm going to try anyway. But I will be communicating with y'all in the chat as always. Okay. By Capricorn. Shout out to By Capricorn. She just became a member. Thank you. Welcome. I love when y'all become members. That makes me feel fuzzy inside. Yes, I highly encourage y'all to become members because I'm going to be doing some exclusive content tailored towards the members. So yes. We got 34 people in here. Give it a few more minutes. Hey, Gina from the D. Shout out to Detroit. Thank you. By Capricorn said, hey, detectives. Hey, Donisi. No. Okay, Batman. Hey, I've been sending you tips through Cash App. You say, is it better to just sign up through you? I preach. I mean, it's up to you. I'm just saying that if you're a member, because when you guys sign up for member, to become a member, it says to you the type of perks that comes with that membership. So I want to be able to honor your membership. Okay. If I haven't responded to the Cash App, it's because my phone is on do not disturb. I usually respond once I get off a live, but or I'll send a heart. I'll heart it. What's your Cash App name by Capricorn? She said the math ain't mathing with the like button. Look, y'all, come on in, share the live, do what you need to do. Let's get up to at least 50 people so we can go ahead and get started. But I know a lot of people catch the replay, so I ain't too worried about it. Yep. So anything I sent through Cash App or super stickers and things like that, it's still of value. But if you want exclusive content tailored to the membership, then I highly recommend that you join the membership, especially when I start doing like members only lives. Not saying that I won't do subscription lives like this. It's just I'm also going to be doing membership only lives as well. Okay. Now, why my camera look? Alrighty. 46, that's good enough. So this interview, for those that don't know, is from Community Matters, the podcast, Community Matters podcast. Okay. What happened? Not Quarantino. Because why just start tripping like soon as I hit the damn thing? Let's see.
Affectionate. She was an innocent child. She loved to dance ever since she was small. 6 months old, she could dance better than most grown people. Really good in school, well behaved. She was isolated. So she didn't get the opportunity to even achieve her full potential.
Okay, Kewana, do you want to share?
Yeah, she was, like she said, she was a really loving young lady. She loved attention. She loved being around family. She was the typical little girl. She really was. And as she said, she just didn't have, the proper support.
Okay, and I'd like to let the audience know, Naziyah, that name is kind of like a little different name for me, Naziyah. She was a young 13-year-old coming home from school on the school bus as any other child would have. And for what all we know for right now, that she never made it home. Naziyah was really just basically in the limelight that she was about to just go. Am I correct? Well, she was going home, or was she going to visit? Can you kind of tell us something about her getting off the bus and what came next?
For what we understand, she was supposed to get off the bus and go home. We've been isolated from the family because of our feelings towards situations going on in the household. But basically what we got information from family members who have spoken to us, she was supposed to come home and she didn't.
Okay. She was supposed to come home and she didn't, and she's 13 years old. So how do you have any idea, Kewana, how long it was before anyone realized that she was not home, she did not come home or get off the bus to come home, to go home?
You know, honestly, I think it was too long before anyone in the house realized that she didn't get off the bus and come home, because I would have realized right away that my child wasn't walking in the door at the normal time that they usually walk through the door.
Okay, what was that time frame? Could you share with the audience the time frame before they really realized that she wasn't home?
Well, from what I read in like news reports and things like that, and the police that I talked to, she should have been arriving home a little bit after 3 o'clock. I even went over there and sat on the corner of Cornwall and Auto Drive and watched the buses come. I wasn't exactly sure which bus she was on, but all the buses came within 2 to 3 minutes of each other and were gone by 3:10. So she should have been home between 3 and 3:15, because the house is right around the corner from the bus stop, not even a 5-minute walk.
Literally.
So again, has anyone figured out the amount of time? What was the time frame that she actually became missing?
We know they said that she went missing after getting off of the bus. That's all we know. We just learned recently that they didn't realize she was missing until around 6 o'clock.
And that's when was the police called? Did the mother, the guardian notify the police?
No, all the information we received is that they claimed that they went to look for her, but no neighbors on that block. We went and asked when we passed out flyers. The neighbors on that block said they didn't even know a little girl was missing, especially not the little girl from that house, because they were familiar with that house.
Right. They were familiar with the house.
Yeah.
Were there any other children, young children, older children in the house that you know of?
Multiple children frequent that household and live in that household. At least, let me see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, at least 11 children.
Wow.
Have lived in that house recently. And currently there are 7 that live there and 2 others that may possibly still frequent that household.
One of the things, Lori, if I can interject for a second, one of the questions that is commonly asked in terms of the family, I want to, get through this and go on to some other things, but not only were there a lot of small children in the house, it has become public knowledge in terms of, number one, everybody knows Jarvis Butts, who is been identified as the suspect in this crime, and of course, as of today, has been bound over to trial to face all of those charges and even increased charges. The prosecutor added, or it upgraded, I think it's the better term, a charge today. So we are grateful for that. But one of the questions that I get a lot in the comments is asking about the grandmother's history in terms of her having her own children and how she was able to get foster children. And then was Jarvis Butts living in the home or not? Things like that. If you guys could clarify for us, any, whatever information you can share, because of course this is still an ongoing investigation. So we don't want to say anything that's going to interfere with that process, but anything that you guys can share in terms of the dynamics of the home, as far as the access maybe that Jarvis had to the children. You said how many children were in the house, but again, like I said, with the public already being aware that there was issues with the grandmother, would you either one of you know how she was able to bring in foster children in the home?
You want to answer that, Kewana, or you want me to answer it?
It don't matter. You can answer.
Lies. She lied. And I'm assuming that foster care didn't do a very good check on her when she was able to even get custody of Naziyah and her brother, as well as not as when she was able to get the other foster children she has cared for, as well as the 2 children that she fostered and has adopted.
And also, I would like to add, we found that she had only made them aware that she had 2 children, and she has more than 2 children. So I don't know if cases were missed from that. I'm not sure, but
she has 7 children, and from what I understand, I have people I know who work in foster care and things like that. They ask you about your children. They want to interview your children, see how your children are, how they turned out, where they life with, what type of upbringing they had. Well, unfortunately, out of her 7 children, the first one ran away at a very young age. The second one, he stayed home to 18 and went to school. Then Naziyah's mother, she has had some difficulties in life and ran away at 13. Then the next child ran away at 16. Then the next child left at 17 or 18. And they just all have been going through some triumphs in their life that we feel they would have never had to go through if they had had better parenting. This is one reason why my father, my father and my grandmother tried to help Annette when she was young. And she wasn't receptive to the help that she received. My grandmother and father got her 11 years old. She was pregnant. My grandmother helped her get a HUD home, pay for attorneys to help her get her baby because he ended up becoming a ward of the state because she was so young. And Annette just continued to be with and things like that. But she was a victim of a lot of trauma herself. So her children, they have some issues too. Everybody got their problems, but it's to the extreme.
If I may ask, Deborah, I'd like to ask this question. How did the alleged accuser, how did he even come into contact? I'm trying to figure out, how did she get in contact with him? She lived in one residence and he lived in another. What was the connection of the contact?
As far as Naziyah?
Yes.
Her aunt, my niece, her aunt Shannon, that was her boyfriend, the father of her children. Wherever Shannon was, he was. Okay.
So I guess a lot of the people, I'm getting some people are dinging me on the other end, but they're trying to understand. They thought that the child lived with the aunt.
No, Naziyah was living with her grandmother, Annette. But Shannon was always over Annette's house prior to moving back in with her. I think she moved back in maybe August or something of 2023. She was living in a townhome that I let her live in. She was living in a townhome. It was a Section 8 townhome. I incomed out of it when I graduated from nursing school. I signed it over to her thinking it would be a stepping stone to help her and her children. And we would keep it in the family, and maybe the next person who needed a stepping stone to go finish school or whatever could use it. Well, Shannon got evicted from that townhome because of her and her shenanigans with Jarvis. So she ended up having to move back in with Annette sometime in August or September of 2023. That's how she got back in the home with Annette. But prior to that, Naziyah was with Shannon all the time at her home. And Jarvis was where Shannon was when he was with Shannon and not the others that he was with.
Does anybody know how he was able to stay in the house with minors, being that he had been a sex offender, even imprisoned?
We were told that he was no longer on parole and that he could be around children. But I thought the law was that you can't even live in the vicinity of school. So how is it that you can live in a house with children that are not yours, which it really didn't matter if they was his or not. He violated them. So, but that's what we were told. Most recently, when all this stuff happened, they said that's why.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Kewana.
We were told that most recently, and also I was told that upon me calling Protective Services while Shannon was living in Clinton Township, my question to them was just that: why and how is he allowed to be around the children? Because we kept constantly being told that they're not finding any signs of abuse, and so that was one of my questions. Well, there's a pedophile in and out the home, basically living there, on a regular basis. Isn't that enough? And that's what they told me, that it wasn't.
I want to get off into that too, in terms of the CPS cases. I want to cover that. But now I think I remember correctly, and you all correct me if I'm wrong, that there was something, or at some point, Jarvis was not on the registry, sex offender registry. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, when I initially found out that Jarvis was a sex offender. It's almost 12 years ago.
Wow.
And I asked Shannon about it. She didn't tell me. I stumbled over it because of a situation where he had got arrested and had her daughter in his custody at that time. He had the child, and we had to go get the baby because he got arrested. So I was looking him up to see what he got arrested for. Then it popped up his oldest information saying that he was a sex offender and had sexually assaulted a child under the age of 13. And I looked at Shannon and I was like, Shannon, he's a sex offender. Yeah, he said the girl lied. I'm like, it says the girl was 13, and then I did the math on his age. I said he was 24. So it ain't no lie there. Yeah, but he did his time. And I'm like, nah, nope. I was like, you need to leave him alone. Over the course of the years, I would tell her, you need to leave him alone. He was not good to her. He did not treat her well. He did not teach the children well at all. He fathered them. He created them, but he was not a father figure that I would have tried to hang on to for the kids. But anyways, I looked on the sex offender registry and saw that he was not on there. So I called, and that's when they went after him. And eventually, maybe about 6 months later, he had to report. They registered him, and he ended up on the sex offender registry. But
so he was supposed to be on the registry the whole time.
The whole time, and this was like 12 years ago. But get this, his last report is 2019. He hasn't reported to the sex offender registry since 2019. So he probably wasn't reporting it very often in between those times either.
Yeah.
So you said he fathered some children. So you're saying that in the time frame that he was with your stepsister?
No, he was with my niece Shannon.
Your niece Shannon, that he actually fathered some children in the home or outside the home?
He has 5 children with Shannon. It was almost 6.
Oh, okay. And okay.
Yeah. There's a question though that popped up as well in the comment section about him having 13 children.
He has more than 13.
I've listened to other podcasts covering the story, and I heard the number 20.
He has more than 20 children.
He has more than 20 children.
He has adult children that are almost the age of Shannon.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
What is she in her early 30s, right?
Shannon's 31, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think his oldest daughter is around the age of 26, 27. He's my age. He's 42.
Yeah. Because even the judge said it in her ruling that he had 13 children. And I think it came from that interrogation he did with the detectives. And I guess maybe he only claims 13 of them.
That's his Snooki number. He says that all the time.
Oh, yeah. I thought I remember hearing the number 20. But as far as that is concerned, he has other children with underage girls.
From what I understand,
he already has, right?
Yeah, from what I understand, his older children were all with girls in their teens, and he was in his 20s.
Yeah.
And then along the time when Shannon was dating him, they was going back and forth with each other. There was a young lady who was like 18 who said that her child was his. I don't know whatever came along with that, but yeah, it's possibly she's one of the young ladies that's listed on the front of the court registry.
So do you think, Deborah, please don't let me get ahead of myself, but I have to ask this question. Did Naziyah, did she ever show or talk or say anything to anybody? I mean, any hints,
yes, she did.
The world wants to know. I mean, this is a young 13-year-old child, and from my understanding, this took place a year ago. Today.
She told. No, she did tell. It all started, my issue, me and Shannon were thick as thieves. I love the children. I would go around, went to Disney World, we traveled together. Then she called me and told me that it was a birthday party in February of 2022 for her second daughter's birthday. And most of the children, pretty much all the children were at the house, the grandchildren. There was one little girl who was another, Annette's other sister's daughter was there. Now, this child had never been around Jarvis alone before. I think she might have been at the birthday party or something, adult birthday party, but it was at a hall. But she was at Shannon's home, and this young lady was so afraid. Shannon's telling me this. She ran upstairs, frantic and afraid and scared, and wanting to go home and wanted to call her mother because Jarvis touched her inappropriately while she was in the basement playing with the puppy. While this little girl, now Jarvis was on the game, he wasn't thinking about going up there with Shannon or nothing. Shannon says all of a sudden, while she's up there, she's trying to calm this little girl down and talk to her, Jarvis comes and knocks on the door and says, "What's wrong with her?" And I said, Shannon, why are you calling me? Is he dead or is he in jail?
Mm-hmm.
No, he left. What you mean he left? Call the police. Let them know where he's going, what car he's in.
Right.
Well, I'm about to take her home, then I'm going to call my mama. What? So I called her back like maybe 30 minutes later. Like, did you call the police? No, my mama said bring the kids home tomorrow morning. She gonna talk to him. I'm like, no, y'all don't need to talk to him. You need to contact the police. She did not contact the police. I found out later the police were never contacted. The next day when I called Shannon, I talked to her. She said my mama talked to them and said the kids ended up telling us they lied. They was mad because he wouldn't give them no money. So I called Annette and I said, Annette, are you guys going to call the police? She said, yes, we're handling. I'm going to call the police. So I left it alone. Like, she's going to call the police. Shannon assured me that the police had been called. They were involved. There was an investigation going on, all of this. This was in February 22. Well, in April of 22, I called Shannon in a lie. There was the police were never called. The children were not receiving counseling. Nothing had happened. So I went to the Clinton Township Police and I told them that I wanted to make a report. They told me I couldn't make a report because I didn't have enough information about the child who actually accused him of the sexual abuse. I said, but the other children also accused him of sexual abuse. They said, well, they didn't happen that night. And I'm like, she said, it would probably be best for you to call CPS. So I called CPS and I told Shannon I called CPS. I said, if y'all didn't call, I told you to call the police. I told you to get the kids help. You didn't do it. So I'm calling CPS. I'm not only you, but I'm calling them on your mama too. Because it happens, whatever's happening at your house is most likely happening at your mother's house. They never called. And then that's when Kewana got involved. I didn't, like my husband knew what was going on. And a few other people who knew Shannon because she had told them stories. But this is how Kewana got involved. So I'll let Kewana tell what happened on her end.
So then I end up going over there to drop off Naziyah some clothing. And once I got there, Shannon pulled me to the side and said, I got to tell you something. And I go, okay, what's going on, cuz? And she said, that Jernell and called protective services on me and lied and said that Jarvis was doing something to the kids. I said, what do you mean she called protective services to say Jarvis was doing something to the kids? How would that come about? So that's when she went to tell me, it was a party. And she explained that what happened at the party and that they ended up questioning the children, and her daughter, along with Naziyah, along with my other little cousin, which I've never met, had expressed to her that Jarvis offered them monies to do things inappropriately. She said, however, she found later on that her daughter was lying. And I said, Shannon, kids don't lie about stuff like that. But a child not gonna come and tell that something like that happened and just be lying. You need to further investigate. No, that Jernell just trying to start some stuff. I said, no, I don't feel like she's trying to start no stuff. I feel like she care and concerned about what's going on in the household as far as the children. This is outside of you and her relationship. This is about looking out for the children. And so we began to go back and forth. And I became, which she like to call it the op. Being as though now I'm taking up for the kids. So I contacted Jernell and said, what's going on? Because we hadn't talked for a little while. And I said, explain to her what I had heard and what Shannon had said. And she told me what happened and what transpired. So that's when I called protective services.
Could you tell me the length of time it was before either one of you called? Because it seemed like it was a long stretch before the initial and Child Protective Services was notified.
The initial incident happened in February of 2022. I was told that the authorities were involved. When I found out that the authorities were not involved, Shannon was lying to me.
22 or 24?
22.
22. Okay.
So in April of 22, I figured out another incident happened where a child was doing some sexually inappropriate things. And I said, well, what's going on with the case? And isn't she in counseling? And you need to go to the police and take the phone. She sent the pictures to somebody on Instagram. She had told somebody else. She tell people this stuff like it's nothing. Like it's the normal everyday thing. She told somebody who ain't even related her to this story, and they called me to tell me what she said. And then I called her to ask her about it. So that's when I called CPS in April when I found out she had lied to me.
April of which year?
2022. So then Kewana called me. I don't even think it was like maybe 3-4 weeks later. Kewana called. Other family members had already called and were calling when all of this was going on because I wasn't getting any response from CPS. The CPS worker that I talked to told me the children denied it. I said, so look at the adults. If the children are not going to tell you I said, would you take the children out of the household and question them? No. I'm like, because they're afraid to say anything because they're in the Shannon and Annette looking right in their face. Then I said, if the children are not going to tell it because they're afraid, then start looking into the adults. Well, we haven't found any credibility of the complaint.
Even with him in the house, been in prison.
She told me that he was not on parole and he could be in the house around children.
But he had been to prison for the same accusation. No, not accusation. He was convicted, and imprisoned for the same thing.
This is what troubles me. I made this complaint in April of 2022. And there were several other complaints by myself, Kewana, and other family members after that. This man had a CPS case basically stating the same thing in 2015 and 2018 from completely different families.
Yeah, sure did. And also
girlfriends.
Sure did. Sure did. And after I end up calling Protective Services, one of the children had began to contact me and express things that were going on in the house, right? Because, I talked regularly with the children, even when they tried to isolate me. I'm not going to say names of the children, but one of the eldest children would try to contact me or contact me outside of their knowledge. It began them having to sneak and call me now because, they don't want us around. We get in their business. We're calling Protective Services. And so, I went on to talk to workers, try to get custody, continue to call. I made calls not just in Wayne County, but again in Clinton Township. So there was calls, Clinton Township, Wayne County. The Clinton Township calls was against Shannon. Wayne County was against Auntie and their household. And then both stories were being told to both Protective Services, that city and in that city. And
we did get a little bit of action. A little bit. Action when it was another young man who was much older than Naziyah that she was acquainted with. And that's the reason why Annette had to move, is what I was told. She had to move away from that young man because Naziyah was having an inappropriate relationship with him. And that's the reason why.
Is this the autistic guy?
Yes. And then I also was told that they told Shannon at this point that Jarvis could not come around the children.
Who told her that?
CPS.
Okay.
This is what I was told by someone. I don't know for sure, but this is what I was told by someone at CPS that Shannon, that he was not supposed to be around the children at that point because I guess we had called so many times.
Right. Oh, yeah. I want to go back to something real quick when Lori was asking about if Naziyah had said anything or that gave any type of inclination that anything was wrong. And I want to mention this from the court proceedings that have been going on this week when the teacher or substitute teacher testified that the last day was, I presume it was the last day that Naziyah was in school. She came in her room. Apparently this particular sub had a rapport with Naziyah. She would give her candy every day or something like that. And she would come in her room and talk to her. And the lady said that Naziyah laid on the floor and said she needs to see a counselor. But it so happened that the counselor never came in that day. And so, and of course, we didn't see her anymore. So that was one thing. And then I wanted to ask you guys about this. If you were aware of this that I heard on one of the videos from another podcast, it said, that Naziyah was telling her classmates that she was planning to run away because she was pregnant. Had you guys heard anything about that?
Yeah, we heard so much. That was after she went missing. So yeah, we've heard that. We have heard every accusation, scam. Yeah, we heard that.
Okay. I wanted to clear that up. And then also now I believe Kewana, you pretty much grew up around Naziyah's mom and being close to in the unit. And being in Naziyah's life actively. Well, I guess both of you were in her life actively up until the cases being filed and whatever rift caused the family to that broke down the family. So can you talk about, Kewana, how well? First of all, let's clarify for the public how long Jarvis has been around, because the information that is out there, only indicates, that he started abusing Naziyah back in as far back as 2022. But there's a question that it may have probably more than likely had gone on much longer. So let's establish for them, exactly how long, when did you all become aware that he was around, like when Shannon was dating him and all of that, those types of things, to give, to clarify. Basically, I want to get rid of some misinformation that's out there.
So
go ahead.
No, yeah, Kewana.
So, Jarvis have been around since Shannon was 16, right?
Yeah, we didn't know about it until later, but
yeah,
after she had her daughter, he had been.
Right.
We found out during this whole ordeal that she had been acquainted with him since she was about 16.
Right, and we had no clue, not just that he was the age that he was, but no clue that he had a record.
Right. Yeah, but and I think that's
a record of being a pedophile. Let me say that.
Right. Yeah, because that's a lot of the thing is, where was the family? Oh, and the other thing is, let's clarify, and we don't have to go into extensive details about her mom, but can we please clarify, just a general idea of her mother and the father. We know that the father did pass away last year, but if you guys can share with us just a little bit, just to put that to rest so that people understand what the dynamics are.
I'll speak on her mother because I really didn't have a relationship with her father. Kewana knows him better than I do. Her mother loved her. She loved her children. She just had, like I said, she grew up with Annette in a household, and she went through the same thing at 13 as Naziyah. So, she had a lot on her, and no one ever got her help. So, and she loved her children. She just couldn't fight those demons that were chasing her. When all this stuff was going on with Naziyah, we finally caught up with her because people were lying, and specifically Annette and people in the family were saying that she just left. She never left. She said, I'm staying here until y'all find out what happens to my baby. But she just staying out the way because Annette was trying to say she had something to do with it. Other people were trying to say, when actually she was the first person to give the police the information they needed to try to figure out what happened to Naziyah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But when we found her just talking to her, she said, this stuff just keep on, all this sex stuff. She said, it's just keep on chasing me. It's chasing me. Now it's got my baby.
Oh my God.
So this is really sad. Something, I hate to, I'm not trying to cut you off, but there's just a whole lot going on in my head right now because working in early childhood development, and I'm thinking 10, 12-year-old girl. I have 10 and 12-year-old children in my before and after school program, summer camp, and all of this. So I'm saying to myself, where was the indication at school that something was going on with Naziyah?
There were several indications at school, but the school would call Annette instead of going through the proper channels. You tell me this, if a child is on the playground and a car pulls up to a vicinity where the child can talk to them through a fence, and the child is talking to them and the teacher goes over and say, hey, who are you talking to? And the guy says, I'm her dad. And the child agrees, yes, that's my dad. Do you call the grandmother or do you make a report as well as calling the grandmother?
No, in that case, no, until I get the child information card and verify who that father is with the identification, he would leave until he's ID'd.
Well, he pulled off once the teacher started questioning him. And then when they talked to Annette, she referred that Naziyah did not have a relationship with her father. So what did they do after that? Like, for the safety of not only Naziyah, I feel like some type of report or police report should have been made for the safety of any other child he may have came back and tried to talk to. Because they didn't know who he was.
Yeah, I would think that it would have at least been documented that an adult male was spotted, observed, interacting with the child in the schoolyard or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I think that the school, it's clear that the school just
didn't follow proper protocol.
They weren't paying attention at all.
It's unbelievable the amount of callousness between these social institutions, CPS, the police department, and the CPS, the police department, and the school as well. Callousness to the point of liability, as far as I can see. I don't think that, and I don't anticipate there being any type of lawsuits or anything like that filed. But they certainly everybody, dropped the ball on this one. So
There's
Deborah, go ahead,
there's a
Laura.
lot of
Go ahead,
accountability.
Kewana.
A lot of accountability. I mean, there's a lot of people that need to be held, from me listening to this, accountable. And, even to the point where cell phone, messages on cell phone, who don't check a 13-year-old cell phone?
Messages on the
First of all,
school
who's paying for
laptop.
the cell phone?
Right.
Messages on the school laptop.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kewana. The second half is about her dad.
Well, he is deceased. I want to respect that, but I can say that this started out a working relationship with him and my cousin. We met him together, actually. He spoke to me and we were having a conversation. And I went on to my vehicle, and him and my cousin continued to converse, and they exchanged numbers. They were talking about, business. My lady works on houses. Kenyatta, her nickname is Lady. She works on houses and she's really good at it. And so he needed some help as far as, his business, and that's how they met. And so they met a business relationship. She was with him regularly, like every day. And I wasn't with them on a daily basis, but I do know when she became pregnant with Naziyah. At first, her, being a mother and, dealing with a man in which, he has a family and so on, she was torn between, was she going to, keep her child or not keep her child? And so she made a decision of keeping her child with the expectation that they would parent her together. And some things happened along the lines, he had a family at home, and things got really ugly with them as far as that was concerned. And so Naziyah, from my understanding and from what my cousin was telling me, Naziyah wasn't seeing him regularly. However, from my understanding and what he told me is that he was trying to see her, and my aunt was making it hard for him to see her, because at the time she was trying to get custody of the children. And so not even so much making it hard, but telling him that it's best for her to be her guardian because she can do the things for her that he can't do. Again, he had a situation, and at that time his wife wasn't aware that Naziyah was born, and that went on like that. She convinced him to let her. They came to an agreement that she would parent Naziyah, so to say, and they ended up moving. He lost contact, and so many things happened in between. When they lost contact, he was consistently paying child support. From my understanding, he told me that personally, that he was consistent with paying his child support. Whether that child support was being spent on Naziyah or not, there were many times where she needed things, which was one of the reasons why I would take her clothes. Some new, some, I have 2 daughters, and my daughters, they like, nice things like any young person. And so Naziyah is smaller than them, and we will pass it down. And not just me, they have 2 other cousins. I won't say their name. And, the mother of one of my aunt's children, she, same thing, her daughters. So, we were looking out for Naziyah as far as clothing and such. So yeah, that's that story. And then once this came about, with Naziyah missing, he found out about it, and he was out there, like we were, as far as the organized searches is concerned, and passing out flyers. I met up with him a few times, and we were passing out flyers and so on. So there's that. They both made a mistake, but Naziyah was none other than a blessing, and it's unfortunate that all this had to happen like this. It's really sad that not just her father, and in a situation, her mother, and she's no longer here.
Can I ask the question? Did anyone know she was pregnant? I mean, at 13, I'm going to keep saying a young girl at 13. You are a mother, you're an auntie, you're a grandmother, whatever. You're going to notice somebody has to buy supplies.
I believe that they did know that she was pregnant. We did not know that she was pregnant until all of this happened. And then we saw the videos, and we started kind of like looking and assuming like, wait a minute, it look like she's pregnant. And I personally feel strongly that they knew that she was pregnant.
Because mind you, we were no longer allowed to see them. So it was phone calls now. It was, I'm sneaking to call you to say hi, because they weren't allowed to talk to us. So that's how I was in communication, and that's how she was in communication. It was phone calls. We couldn't see them. So we weren't seeing them visually, aside from the oldest child. I won't say his name, but yeah.
We weren't seeing Naziyah would text every now and then if she can get a hold of a phone, or she would, I think one time she reached out to me on social media, The last time I saw Naziyah was June of 2022 because I saw CPS in April, and I saw her June of 2022, and I was taking one of the other children with me because I have a son that's close in age with one of the other children. They're very close, and I was taking them on a trip. It was like a Father's Day football trip or something, and I saw her that day, and she wanted to go, and I'm like, I'm gonna come back when I get back in town. We're gonna make plans. So I'm gonna come and get you. Well, I tried to get her like a week and a half later, take her to lunch, let her spend the night, get her nails done, do something fun with her, and they told me that she could not go. Continuously tried to do things for the children, reach out to the children, spend time with the children, be around the children, and they wouldn't let us be around. I showed Deborah the text message where I tried to offer to pay for cheer, like the boys, 2 of the older boys in the household were allowed to go and play football. And I'm like, well, all these years, these boys get to go play football. Well, they got a scholarship. I'm like, they got cheerleading scholarships too. And if they don't, I'll be willing to pay for her to go to cheer. Why she always got to sit in the house? Why she can't never go and do anything? They declined my offer for that.
And what really puzzled me was when Naziyah said that I need the medicine or whatever it was that she was saying she needed
her sanitary napkins. Yeah.
No, this was she needed something because gym was getting very, very difficult for her
to do.
So that tells me that she had to be further along for it to start being a challenge for her to do activities in gym. So it tells me that somebody in the household, an adult somewhere, had to notice something. And I'm not just saying this to be ugly towards anybody out there, but like this is real. This is a young 13-year-old girl that is pregnant, that cannot buy her own sanitary napkins. I haven't heard anybody say she had a job. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
cleaning the shop.
Sam's Club stocks of this, or did you look at her? Did you, what? Because
I wouldn't put it past the things today. No, somebody that was around her, whether it was one of the other children, but I really believe that the adults know. I was a teenage girl. I was raised by my grandmother, and she kept the pad so she would know if I was coming to get them.
Absolutely.
And even if I came and got them, she said, "Let me see." She came in the bathroom to check me when I was 13, 14 years.
I got 2 girls, and they're never without their personals. You know? Right. And not only that, but I pay too much attention to my daughters for them to walk.
Exactly. Do you touch your child? Do your child lay in a bed with you? Do you? Yeah. I remember at 13 climbing in the bed with my grandmother, laying on her, hugging on her always hugging on me, her coming in my room while I was undressed to see what I was putting on going to school that day. Because want to wear the belly shirts, and she wasn't having that, but she stayed on top of me. She knew what I was doing, like what I was wearing, and if she saw me wearing sweatshirts and stuff all the time, she would. I was 20 years old when I got pregnant with my first child, and she was like, she figured it out because I didn't tell nobody until I was further along, and she figured it out. She was like, "You pregnant?" I was like,
"Listen, let me tell you something. We don't have to even go to pregnancy. How about when you start having sex?
Yep.
And they can look in your eyes and tell you
the way you walk, the way you smell, the way you act, everything.
Come on.
How about your neck turning black? Why?
Yes.
What's going on with you? Yep.
Listen, it's the generation. The people. I don't know what's going on with folks now.
But let's remember, Annette runs a tight ship. But all this was going on, and one of the babies was able to get taken off in the car to the store, and then nobody knows she was being taken.
Right.
And multiple children in the households being violated.
But for one thing, with child protective services in their defense, or even an adoption agency, my sister works in that field. And I know, and she's had in the past, Deborah, as you know, she had foster children. They're going to come out to your house, and you have to have bedrooms according to the amount of children that's in the household.
Yeah, so had all that. She made sure she dot her ass children. She made sure she dot her ass across her teeth. It was a
dresses, bunk beds. That was so tight in that area.
Well, for 11 children, she would have had to have at least 7 bedrooms.
They weren't all in the house at the same time. Well, the one house they live in, I believe, was a 2-family family. They're all initially it was just Naziyah, her brother, her other daughter, and her 2 children. And then she had like 1 foster child. Well, then that foster child went away, and then the 2 came. And then they went away for a while because actually those 2 were supposed to be in respite care or something because they were with another family, but something happened with the family.
Temporary care, like on the weekend.
So she had them for a while, but then I guess the family, whatever they was going through, they couldn't no longer keep the children. So she ended up taking the children, and keeping them permanently. And then the children went back to their parent, their abuser, and she abused them again. And then they brung them back to Annette. Mm-hmm. So she always made sure they was on top of her about that, like making sure there was enough bedrooms and the boys was separate from the girls and all this different stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most just come back with 2 out of those siblings. It was even another child, which was a baby. That was their
brother.
But
the young lady, it's just a mess.
But his father got custody of his child.
Ended up getting custody of him because she was trying to adopt all 3 of them. Yeah. But she crossed her eyes and crossed her T's, dotted her eyes for all that type of stuff. But other than that, no.
Yeah. I want to get to a couple of things, guys. And when Kewana was talking, I want to make sure that we say this publicly. There are other family members who cared about Naziyah and are basically kind of behind the scenes that was trying to intervene in the situation. This was not a situation where this child was completely abandoned by her entire family. That people, maybe did not know what was going on for a time or whatever. Can you all briefly address that, just to let people know there was other people in the family that loved Naziyah, was willing to take her in and all of that? Can we deal with that really quickly?
Right, willing to take her in. We would have to fast forward to 2020. Was that September or October 2020?
September.
It was September 2022 when her brother ran away.
Yeah, 22.
I contacted an attorney. We were trying to find out why first of all, we were trying to find him. We got threatened by the police, saying that we was harboring a minor. We was going to go to jail. But Kewana and I had to devise the plan. I contacted an attorney. We was trying to get the boy to tell them what was going on. The attorney even told him, hey, all you got to do is say you're not safe and I can go and file for emergency guardianship. He refused to say that because he didn't want to go against his nana. So we were telling him, your nana is threatening to put us in jail. We had devised the plan. I was going to take the brother. She was going to take Naziyah.
Girl, so did.
Because I have boys. So I was like, I'll bring him over here. He's familiar with my boys. Naziyah was very close with Kewana's girls. We had to devise a plan because those children wanted to go. He didn't want to tell on his nana because he was afraid that his sister would end up in foster care or her grandmother would retaliate against her or keep her from him if he was to tell.
Right.
Wow.
So we couldn't devise it. I tried to do it, but he didn't want to tell. And the lawyer advised me, he was like, there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, he said, you can make another report of the abuse, which I did with the police officer who contacted us, threatening us with harboring a minor. We told him what was going on and why he was afraid. They didn't investigate none of that. He said his job was to make sure the minor went back home.
Absolutely. And to add to that, not only did we, try to talk to the workers and get custody of the children, we made preparations. I did with it, where I was living. I lived in a duplex apartment. Wasn't as much room enough. However, the manager was willing to, let me bring her there. She said, whatever you need to do for those children, we won't violate you. Don't worry about it. Do what you got to do. Because I explained the situation to her. And she told me, listen, whatever you need to do, just say the word, because that's a very serious situation. So yeah, we actually, I made preparations. I got the kids ready for this to happen. But as she said, it was, her brother, he was afraid that his sister would go into custody. And not just that, he was afraid of what would happen at home. I mean, they had already been out there multiple times, and you just never know in the mind of a child. Or
he was experiencing it. He was actually experiencing what was going on. Because he did go back, and then he contacted Kewana and said that he was punished after he went back and ended up leaving again, and pretty much never really went back. He's been there, but he just has not lived there since he ran away those 2 times. He's basically been out here on his own.
Yeah, sure did. And once that situation occurred, that was actually the agreement amongst him and my auntie. You go wherever the hell you going. And we're gonna keep it like that. I'm not gonna let them know that you're not here. Because she was receiving funds, and so that's how that went. He was in the street, pillar to post, regularly. We were called because he needed help, cash apps, and so on. We would send them and do as much as we could. Being mothers of our own children. My thing with him was, listen, I want to do this the right way. And if this is what I need you to do so that her or I, can do it the right way. We can get you in school, get the help you need, get you in programs. We can't help you like we want to help you with you being in the street. Okay.
I pleaded with Shannon and her twin to maybe talk to, because he said something about he was afraid of juvenile. We were pleading basically just let us take the kids. They're not happy there. You obviously stressed out because you're snapping at them and stuff. Let us just take the kids, even if it's just temporary. Give you a break, maybe give them a new outlet look on life or something like that. Because obviously they're not getting what they need from there. They rejected that offer as well.
Sure did.
She didn't even respond to my offer. Let's say that, but I took that as a rejection, as of no. Because if I was going to do it, the lawyer told me, don't just let her send him. We're going to get temporary guardianship because she might set you up, because she was threatening pretty much if you harboring him, you going to jail and all this different stuff. She said we have to do it by the book because this is a very sensitive situation.
Oh, she was threatening me regularly. I mean,
they sent the police to Kewana house.
Sure did. Had them circling around my place, had them calling my son's phone. And then she had the nerve to call me and say, if you see him, you need to bring him home. I said, well, I tell you what, you need to be honest about the abuse that's going on inside the home. I said, you know what's going on. I said, you know exactly why he running away. Oh, no, he just want to be grown. He want to run the streets. He want to smoke weed. Well, weren't you the one that passed him his first blunt? Weren't you the one that passed him his first breeze? He told me, because I was his favorite older cousin.
Yeah.
So he would tell me things, and he would expect for that to be between him and I. But let the truth be what it is. They were good with blaming the children and not taking accountability for themselves. Look, you passed them the weed.
They would blame the children and say they was this, that, and the other based on things that they had been taught.
Right.
The things that they were mirroring. Everything like Naziyah. A lot of people saying that she was fast. Those things that Naziyah was doing, not only did Jarvis groom her at a very young age to do, but she witnessed it from the other women that were around her on a regular basis. She learned that behavior. She learned how to be manipulative. She learned, and then she was seeking attention because she wasn't getting attention at home. She wanted to feel something, and he was the only one who was paying attention to her. Obviously, because they didn't know none of this was going on, but all of it was happening on Shannon's phone.
And let me say this. She was absolutely looking for attention. You know what? And today, was it today or yesterday? I believe it was today. They said in those text messages, she was constantly asking, am I ugly? Do you think I'm pretty? Well, let me tell you, she always felt ugly. She had very low self-esteem. And I was the one, I would always say, you are beautiful. That's how I gave her the nickname Pretty Eyes, because her nickname from her mom is Tug. And then we also call her Zaza. However, I wanted to go the extra mile and make her feel pretty when I call her name. And so I gave her Pretty Eyes, because she had some beautiful, gorgeous eyes.
She's a beautiful girl.
Yes, she was. Beautiful. But let me say this. They added to her low self-esteem. They were constantly saying things to her like, you nappy-headed. You got nappy hair. So she felt like it gave her a complex, because all the other children have fine hair. And I would have to tell her, baby, you got black girl magic. You see my kicks? You see my hair? You better love yourself. You are beautiful, baby. Those are nines all through your coils. And I would have to try to make her feel good, because they would tear her down by making her feel like she wasn't as pretty as the other kids. You got nappy hair. You bony. These were the things that they were so wrong in itself. That was something they said regularly. And to them, it was jokingly. But to her, it was damaging.
Oh, it sounds like some of that might have been purposely for some reason. I mean, being around children in the business for almost 30 years, it's something so dysfunctional that it's probably, we would never understand, because we're so far from this, removed from this situation. But I'm telling you, this sounds so intentional. The negative talk to her, we don't do that. Black women don't call our children, grandchildren, black, ugly, nappy-headed, none of that stuff. We build our children up. I don't care what they look like. They're in a black home. You are, for the most part, in a functional, in a healthy black environment. You're taught that you are beautiful, respect yourself, love yourself. Don't let anyone disrespect you. She was being torn down on purpose. Somebody and now my teacher and my parent side coming out. This is really a dysfunctional situation, and that's why Naziyah is where she is today. Until somebody start going into these homes and taking action, full actions. I admire you, Kewana, Jernell. I admire you guys for doing what you guys did. You did the best that you could do. But I guess now it's going to come to the point where we're going to have to start knocking on doors and saying, I believe, not to scandalize yourself, not to get yourself in trouble, but just keep knocking on the doors. Hey, why can't I come and see them? I want to see my nieces, my cousins, my nephews. I mean, we done had children put in freezers. We done had children put in dump yards, so-called dump yards. And now we have a child that God knows that we'll know where if her body ever be found. An impregnated child, young baby at 13 years old. We have got to put our foot down and go at it. Because this is crazy. I have experienced lots of things at my early childhood development center. And guess what? If it don't look right to me, it's not right. And somebody has to make it right to me. I'm not going to buy blood coming down a child's leg because, she must have sit on a tricycle and hurt herself. Oh, no. We're going to do some investigating. And then, let the doctor tell me that. Then I'm okay. So we have to start being, as the old people say back in the day, nosy.
That's right. Yeah. And let me say this, if I may. I want to add to that. A lot of times, people will turn a blind eye. They'll know that these things are going on. A lot of women are so desperate to be with a man, because this man is making them feel whatever they need to feel, that they will turn a blind eye. And I know a lot of people, and I'll come back later on and talk about that. But I know a lot of people that know of sexual abuse in the home or pedophiles personally, and they're afraid to turn them loose. It's called Stockholm syndrome, if we will. Yeah. And they want, they'll still have these people around, like their family. They'll protect their name. I mean, I've had people, go back and forth for me about their family members, and because I'm telling, why are you protecting this person? I've lost relationships because I've stood on that. If you are going to protect this person, then you are, again, like someone else was saying, a part of the problem, because it's no way in the world I'm going to know that you a pedophile, whether you my uncle or whoever you are, and you're going to come sit at my table and feast with me and my family.
Come on,
it's not going to happen.
Come on,
yeah.
Now. Come on.
Come
I'm saying what goes on in the home, stay in the home. You need to make a difference with that. Tell your daughter or tell your son what goes on in the home. Yes, stay in the home. But if it's unhealthy, if somebody's touching you inappropriately, if somebody is doing things to you to make you feel uncomfortable, those are the things you tell. If you see mommy and daddy have an argument, and we're in an uncomfortable position because daddy or mommy came home too late or whatever, that's something different, and we'll talk to you about it. But all that, what go on at home, stay at home, and somebody's upstairs having sex with a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old. No, we're not going to hide that as Black families, and we shouldn't. No family of no race should hide that. And I hope and I pray that this person gets the justice that he deserves, because he's been to prison for this once. A lesson was not taught. I see no reason for him to be out in society amongst our young children anymore. Anymore.
Yeah, because he went to prison in 2004, 2005. He came home like 2014, 2015. The first CPS case admitting abuse was in 2015. Again. So he came home doing it, and he came home interacting with Shannon.
I want to interject here, though, ladies, for a second, because you all said so much in that time span. There was, we were talking about how they were teasing her about her being nappy-headed and all of that kind of thing. And I can get a visual of that, because Jarvis is light, bright, and almost white, as they used to say.
Good hair.
Biracial or something, I don't know what. And I'm sure that the children has taken on the fair skin and the fine hair.
Yeah, all the children in the hair, even the other children have even Shannon and her sister, they have a very good grade of hair. Naziyah hair was just more kinkier, and she was very
right. But I'm just imagining, just trying to get a visual of that environment that she was in. Right. And so, but it brings me to this thought, and I want to know your thoughts on this, because I want to say this is nothing that has been said, insinuated. Do I want to do this? What I was going to say is, and I've been looking at a lot of comments and all of that all week long, and one of the things that came up a couple of times was that Shannon was jealous. Shannon, the aunt, was jealous of Naziyah, knowing that, the relationship between Naziyah and I hate to call it a relationship, but for lack of a better word, the relationship between Naziyah and Jarvis. Do you guys have any thought, any knowledge of that, if that's even true? Or just any thoughts about, do you think that she would have been jealous of Naziyah?
A lot of people have said that. A lot of people have said that. As you can see, Naziyah was jealous of Shannon and the others, but would you be jealous if y'all both was pregnant at the same time?
Jesus.
Right.
Please, Lord.
My God.
Yep. And not only that, but you know, for her to go to the extent of knowing he's a pedophile, knowing multiple times, women have called her and told her their stories. And so knowing this, if you will go the extra mile to stay with this man, imagine knowing that he's sleeping with your niece. Okay.
And she
loved him to death.
He didn't stop right there. It's a lot of demons in that house. It's a lot of stuff not coming out. I see a whole lot in my head. I'm not going to even bring it out, but it didn't stop there. It didn't stop. It's a mess.
Agreed. I agree with you, Lori.
There's a whole lot of mess going on in that house, and they can cover it up till hell freeze over. But it was a whole lot of mess. Everybody knew what everybody was doing, and some of them was doing it together. And I call no names.
I said, ooh.
But this is a mess. This is an insane mess. This is a little girl, 13 years old. And I don't want to say it's no fault of hers whatsoever.
Not at all.
She was put into this position. And I tell everybody that's listening out there, if you have a 13-year-old or 10, 11, 12, any age child, boy or girl, this man, from what I understand, he was messing with his own child.
Yes.
So don't just look at the aunts, the uncles, the cousins. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that we have to look at blood relatives now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like one lady said years ago, she said her child's father was sleeping with her child. That's not uncommon. We hear it a lot now.
No.
That's right.
So she said, so now when I hear my new husband, which she's had for many years now, get up, I get up. Mm-hmm. When he get out the bed, go use the bathroom, I'm woke. I want to hear him come back and get in my bed. But see, I can't live like that. That's not trust.
Yeah.
That's not trust, but that's where we are now.
Jernell, you wanted to say something?
I'm just saying that's what what some of the testimony was. One of the children in the household basically said he was messing with everybody.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the preliminary exam. Let's talk a little bit about you all's thoughts or what your takeaways have been, what stuck out to you during this week of trauma. I think everybody's traumatized behind listening to them phone records. I want to say something about the people calling Naziyah, oh, she was fast. Or somebody put in my comments today, the child was the aggressor per the text messages. I just blocked them. Right. Mm-hmm. I just blocked them. Because Naziyah was raped. For people to be, not only is it insensitive and inappropriate, that is pure stupidity. Mm-hmm. A child can't give consent for a reason. Neither can they be an aggressor. So listen, and I was really bothered and almost to the point of boiling today when I saw that word fast, because this is something that has been used and specifically when it comes to young Black girls. It perpetuates a negative stereotype, but beyond that, this is a way to be able to sexualize a Black girl child.
Yep. Right. And that's what happens in that household. It's been other girls in that, other girls under her net when things would happen or said, she would say they being fast and this and that. When Naziyah went missing and we did reach out to some of the family, oh, she just out trying to get some dick. She being fast. I'm like, how was you speaking about this child as your blood relative? Right. Shannon was texting people that other family members were saying the same thing. Well, where did she learn to go out and get it from?
Right.
She was grown. She was a child.
Yeah. Because if Shannon told me the information in February of 2022, how long was it going on before that? And then there were other things that before that they probably didn't even tell me about that was going on.
Right. I'm sure it was.
Me so. Somebody tried to tell me, Shannon telling me these types of things was a cry for help. Well, then why when I helped you, you called me an op and said I was trying to break up your family?
Same to me. Oh, I got some, like I said, I got some nasty voicemails. Ooh,
most recently, a recent voicemail. Yeah.
Very recent.
All my children are about the same man. Ooh, girl, a pedophile.
Right.
Yes.
How can you be proud of that? Yeah.
And that's multiple times. I said, you got the energy to get on my phone and disrespect me or say whatever lies or whatever you want to come with on my voicemail or my messages, but you don't have the energy to be concerned and put the same energy into what happened to Naziyah as everybody else. And you her aunt. I'm trying to understand that.
Yeah. Overstand
It's not. I'm not even gonna
I'm trying to overstand it. Yeah.
It's her brothers and sisters too. They got this thing about like they don't want to go against their mom.
Right. Well, I think that's pretty typical of kids. That's the thing. That's why they're children. I mean, they're easily manipulated. They're easily controlled.
No, these are the grown children.
Oh, okay.
These are talking about grown children who know things and have seen things and noticed things and know what we've been going through for all this time and been telling them, and they are afraid to say anything because they don't want to go against the grandmother. Right. They don't want to go against her.
Yeah, somebody is making the comment, why was he ever allowed around the kids anyway? Was he not registered as a sex offender? We've talked about that already, but just a brief answer, he wasn't supposed to be around the children, hence the testimony that was made by particularly Annette, the grandmother. And I believe when Shannon testified this week, who is the aunt with the 5 children with Jarvis Butts, I believe she said it also that when they were questioning them about, him coming into the house or whatever, that's when they started talking about he comes out, he pulls up in the driveway and sits in his truck, and then Shannon goes out, and then if he want to see his kids, all his kids go out. Well, we totally already debunked that lie because we know that he was coming to pick up those kids, taking them to the shop alone, and all those types of things. But hold on a second, Jernell, because I want to give you all the floor. I want to talk about what all came out in the hearings this week, what your thoughts are, what your takeaways are, and then I want to ask if you'll give me permission to talk about what happened when they had to turn the cameras off yesterday.
Oh, yes. Yesterday?
That was Wednesday.
Wednesday, maybe, yeah.
I think it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday. Okay. I had to think about it. Tuesday.
Yeah. So let me know if you want to do that. But who wants to go first to talk about their thoughts of the hearings and what has happened so far in the hearings?
The things that were heard, they affected me as her cousin. I'm sure that it affected a lot of people. Just hearing her, that she was in that state of mind, that she needed love so bad, or, just wanted to feel pretty or feel loved by someone, that she turned to him for it, and hearing the testimony of my little cousin, that was heartbreaking. But again, she was very brave. And I'm proud of her for getting up there and telling it like it needed to be told. As far as the judge go, she did not come to play. She read every thought that I had been thinking, and everything that I wanted to say, she said it. And so, my hat's off to the judge, because she absolutely seen through everything. She seen through all the mess, all of it, because it's a lot of mess, and she's seen straight through it. It's heartbreaking, it's heartbreaking. Like I said, we knew of abuse, but not to this extent. Never to this extent.
Okay. Jernell.
Yeah, I was shocked about a lot of things that came out in court. Now I understand, like when we were working with and talking to the Detroit Public School Police, DVD people, we was in there talking to them and stuff. Now I see why they told us, stand down. We got everything we need. We don't need you doing no searches. You can pass out some flyers, but we got everything we need.
Absolutely.
Because we gave them a lot of information, but we were hounding them. And they was like, oh, just look, you gave us the information. We following it. Just stand down. Don't go out here in these houses looking. Don't go out here accusing people and knocking on doors and all that stuff. Just stand down. We got everything we need. We just need some time to put it together. It takes time to get subpoenas for text messages. It takes time to get subpoenas from the phone companies. It takes time to run DNA samples and stuff like that. It takes time.
Absolutely.
We knew they told us this before the 14th.
Sure did.
We got the information when it was transferred. We talked to Detroit Public School Police the Friday after Naziyah went missing because we didn't find out until Thursday night. She went missing on a Tuesday. We found out on Facebook post on a Thursday night. We called Friday morning.
Sure did.
And told them everything that we knew and what could have possibly happened because originally we thought she had ran away. But just to see all of it unfold was a little bit of a relief because I've been preaching this for a long time and no one would listen. No one believed me. Or they would say, oh, the kids are not denying it. We're not seeing it. The family over there was saying, oh, she lying. She not telling the truth. I don't know why she would make that up about him. I don't know what she got against him and my mama, but she lying. Just my truth to come out.
Yeah.
And they were lying from the beginning. I was pretty much told that a lot of the things that we told them that first couple weeks is what they would have never looked. Annette would have kept on saying she ran away. She would have never said that she was missing. As a matter of fact, Detective Gardner told me when the grandmother said she missing. I said, no, she lying. She ain't missing. That girl won't be gone for no 3 weeks and ain't contact nobody for no money, not on the social media. But just to see it all put together. And that judge, she saw through all the BS. She saw all the lies and the neglect that we've been trying to tell them was going on. She saw all of it. It's unfortunate it took for Naziyah to be the reason why all this shit came out when we've been telling people for years. This ain't nothing that just happened in February. This been happening for years. And we've been going through it, arguing back and forth with Shannon, arguing back and forth with the different police people we came in contact with, calling CPS, trying to get the kids. So it's a little bit of relief. I can say that a little bit of the weight is off of my shoulders, but we still got a long way to go because I want to know where her body is. And I believe they need to go ask Shannon. Absolutely. Because she know everything that he do. If out of all the women that he been with, she the one who keep up with him the most.
Great. Oh my God. Let me, there was a question here and that the audience wants me to pose to you guys. Oh Lord, did I lose it that quickly? Will you ask the guests, what did they think? Oh, okay. The audience's member is asking, Glaw05 asks, what did you all think about Jarvis' sister's testimony? And I want both of you to answer.
Tijuana, thank you for doing the right thing. I know it was very difficult for you to have to do that. And I don't think it was because it was your brother. I think it was more so that you felt like, damn, I saw her. And if I had just took a little bit of extra step, maybe I could have prevented all this. But I really appreciate her testimony. I could tell that it was very difficult for her.
Yeah, she cried the whole,
Yeah, and I could tell that she was kind of silenced in a way too, where she couldn't really say what she wanted to say. But I don't know why that was, or what the
process. They probably want her to save some of that information
for trial or something like that. But I really appreciate that she do that. Jarvis's family had already reached out to me when he was charged. Because I am actually a good friend with one of his cousins. And she reached out to me and told me that they was behind us 100% and they supported us and they didn't want no association with him and they were supporting us. And I just really appreciate that. She said it, like it could have been, it was a difficult situation. I'm like, dang, that's my friend, but this is my cousin. She hadn't really said much to me. But when she came, she explained herself and told me that Jarvis' sister was had made some reports to the police and she couldn't talk about a lot of them. I listened to her or whatever, but it was greatly appreciated. I just, like I've been telling people for the longest, it's not only is Naziyah family hurting, but his family is hurting because that's got to be devastating to find out your family member, your son, your brother, his other children, to find out your father can do something like this. So that's how I feel about her testimony.
I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna let her. I think she did a very good job. I appreciate her testimony. I have a few mixed feelings, but I do respect that she got up there and she expressed what she needed to and spoke against her brother. We needed her to do that and she did that. So I absolutely appreciate that.
Right.
And so I'm gonna just leave it there for now.
Okay. All right. I wanted to, I definitely wanted to ask about that. How is it? So I'm going to ask again. There was a situation in the courtroom the other day. Can we talk about that or briefly?
Briefly, because it wasn't us who did it. So, but
no,
Are you talking about the child's testimony or?
Yeah, at that time, what happened?
Yeah, there's an article about that.
Oh, okay, great. If we can talk
a
about
couple
that really
newspaper
quick.
articles out about basically what the child has said.
But we don't. But I don't mean talk about the child's testimony as opposed to
what happened after
an altercation.
Yeah.
The altercation that happened after the child testified.
Wait, let me stop you one more time, Jernell.
Okay.
Because I want to preface this. I want to make sure I preface this with the audience so they know what's going on. Those of you that were live streaming with us or any other wherever else all week long know that, we would have to wait sometimes for the court cameras to come on. And on Tuesday, was it Tuesday?
I think it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday, the third day.
Yeah. There, from our end, those of us who work directly in the courtroom, we're waiting on the cameras to come on. They had taken a lunch break, so we came back and waited on them. So we waited or whatever. And then finally, after their lunch break, they turned the cameras back on. Well, when they did, Judge Sibyl, which is her name,
her chamber,
said, we have I think it's called a something 5 testimony, but whatever the legal term is, it's indicative of a child testimony. So she asked everybody to turn their cameras off. So we, of course, they shut us down, and I guess whoever was there recording had to turn off. So when we came back from that, finally, because someone in the comments said, how long is this going to take? And I said, this is really strange, because with children, they don't try to keep children on the stand too long, because it's traumatic for them. And then you got to think about a child sitting there looking at the defendant, especially if they're testifying against them and all of that. I said, so I don't understand what's taking so long, because they don't usually keep children on the stand this long. And then finally, the cameras came back on. I said, oh, here we go. And okay, a few seconds go by, and boop, just abruptly goes off again. So I want you to start from there.
The information was actually given to Kewana. I don't know if you want to tell what actually happened, Kewana, or you want me to tell it.
I'll tell it. Upon her testimony, her father was upset, like any father would be. And him listening to his daughter, say the things that she said, and not just the fact that he did the things that he did to Naziyah and to another family member, but he tried to do it to his daughter. He was vivid. He was upset, and they had to escort him out of the courtroom because he did exactly what any parent would do.
He did exactly what somebody should have did a long time ago. And I commend him from that. Me and him have not always saw eye to eye, but I commend him from that. Because that was real,
I don't think that the audience knows what happened, y'all.
Oh, yeah. Basically, he tried to get him. He tried to get Jarvis, and they had to send them in there to get him away from Jarvis. Jarvis and his attorneys had to go back in that little holding room with Jarvis. The judge went in her chamber. Everybody was crying. People had to duck and dodge because he was about to handle the business, and he said he basically didn't care about what was going on.
Yeah,
he didn't. Well, he do not play about his daughter.
No,
but I can tell you guys, in watching the live stream today, Jarvis Butts was limping and had bruises.
Oh, he been limping.
Not
he
like
been limping, but he had those bruises. Somebody clapped him up every time he come to court since that arraignment. He get knocked up a little bit.
That's what I said too. Yeah, he.
That's why
he was a little beat up the other day. He was pulling that mask up higher and higher. If it go any higher, it's gonna be on his forehead.
Right.
So and I had to ask. I said, the inmates allowed to have TV, so they watching.
Oh yeah.
They know.
Oh yeah. They FaceTime and everything else in prison now.
Right.
Oh yeah.
They probably got people who on this live that they called in there and told their family members that's in there. Hey, his name is.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Oh yeah. So
he's not in he's in a jeopardizing situation right now. He's not going to sleep.
No,
I wouldn't. I would just confess and tell everything. Because they're going to stay on him until he do.
Around, guys. He doesn't look remorseful to me.
At all.
No. At all.
When today, they was asking, somebody yelled out, tell us where she at.
Yeah.
And he just kept walking. He ain't flinching nothing. But what got me was, it was something in the comments the other day about the judge was like, is he crying? I was like,
he tried to cry. He tried to cry because he know when he get back to that cell, he's going to get beat up again.
That was right after that DNA reading. And he was going to the back, they was going to lunch, and she was like, is he crying?
But I mean, here's the thing, because, and again, I'll refer to the comments. I have gotten so many comments like, why was this guy still walking the streets? Why was it, because it just don't make sense. I mean, he's just going around, messing up all of these young girls and affecting their lives and whatever to the families and all of that. And it's a genuine question. You don't, of course, advocate for stuff like that, for violence or whatever, but it somewhere down the line, Jarvis Butts was never dealt with properly.
Absolutely.
He has not had a reason to even attempt to change his behavior. When you all were talking earlier and said when he got out of prison for the first charge, I would almost bet money that he came home and resumed his normal activities of abusing children, because it is very, very hard to rehabilitate a pedophile. Let me tell y'all, I'm talking to the audience now. It is slim to none that you're going to rehabilitate a child sexual offender. Ladies, don't bring these jokers home over your children. You cannot do it. Even if you want to say, oh, well, he did his time, and who am I to judge? And listen, let me tell you something. That is a sickness that is literally almost, you literally almost cannot ever recover from. Recovery is a part of addiction. Any addiction, drugs, some people are addicted to sex, some people are addicted to food, whatever the addiction is, a relapse, is a part of recovery. So if a sex offender relapse, guess what? They go back to raping, abusing children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to make that point very quickly. Now, let's get to, so we can wrap up, because we got a couple more things to do. I want to talk about cousin Roxy. I want to go there. We got a late start and we didn't cover everything, and maybe we'll get a chance to do this again. I want to talk about cousin Roxy. A lot of comments were in this week while we were watching, or while we were streaming the preliminary hearings about cousin Roxy. Cousin Roxy has been, and I'm calling her cousin Roxy. She has been the visible face, so to speak, of this Naziyah situation. And I heard a lot of things. Roxy is the reason why this has gotten national attention. Roxy is the one who brought all of this together and did this and did the other. And that was one of the things that I wanted to kind of put forth and make sure that other people in the family love this child. I mean, really love this child. Regardless of what was going on in that particular unit in that home, this family didn't just neglect and abandon Naziyah. The people in the family does not agree with how Naziyah was being raised, what Naziyah was being exposed to, or the other children. So when we make blanketed statements like that to say that family XYZ, well, you're talking about a whole lot of people besides those few So I want to get to this, and I want to make sure that we cover it, because there was a lot of things that was going on, and at some point there was a rift. I think that am I correct in that it started maybe around the time of when they started organizing the searches for Naziyah? Is that what happened?
It was like towards maybe close to right before he was charged or so, or maybe a little after. I would have to look at my messages to see. But basically, all this stuff got started, like I said, in 2022. Unfortunately, my efforts did not do anything. Other family members who were involved, efforts did not do anything. At that time, we got, like I said, we had a little action where they made her move from the one guy, but it did not work. Unfortunately, I thought reporting to CPS, they're going to figure it out. CPS, the police don't get involved. But anyways, how all this stuff started most recently once Naziyah went missing was basically Kewana and I talking to Detective Gardner at the Detroit Public Schools Police Department, hounding her pretty much to the point I think she got a little bit aggravated with me, and I got aggravated right back with her, saying so did Kewana. And then, they finally started all these searches and this, that, and the other. Myself and my family ended up talking to Mark B. and it went social media viral. I guess Roxy befriended Mark D. I've been knowing Mark D since 9th grade. He's done business with some of my family members. We went to high school together for a couple years. So I've been knowing him for a long time, since we was kids. So my family member had did some business with them, and so they knew who he was. So we talked to Mark. It went social media viral. Roxy, I'm not sure when, but I know like sometime in November she was supposed to be moving back to Michigan or whatever. But she was here doing all that stuff with Mark, and she ended up befriending Mark, and they became close and collaborated or whatever. So and Roxy just had her own efforts of going, despite the police telling us to stand down or whatever, because they had everything they needed. She had her own efforts, which we were okay with passing out the flyers because the police had told us to stand down. They had everything that they need from the information that we had gave them. So we did that. We continued to post. We continued to pass out flyers. Well, fast forward, during all the searches that they did, they're, getting Naziyah's name out there, we started receiving death threats and scam artists and psychics and lies, and then people calling us, beware, don't listen to her because she's a scam artist. And someone actually vandalized my house because a lot of Roxy followers believe that we didn't do anything, which is not true. A lot of people did a lot of different things.
Y'all don't think that's ironic that what she just said in regards to Roxy? Y'all don't think that's ironic? Just saying.
In their own way. So, and that was kind of, devastating. I'm receiving death threats. That, my house is being vandalized. My job is being called. Somebody called my job asking for me, trying to get in contact with me and my supervisor. Then the security officer had to come and talk to me, and they didn't put up a thing. If anybody, basically they had to secure me to make sure no one came up to the job looking for me. That was crazy. That was the rift when we all were supposed to be working together in efforts of getting Naziyah's name out there, finding Naziyah.
Because remember I said in the other live, I'm like, y'all don't think it's strange that Kewana and Jernell don't seem to be working together with Roxy. It was like Roxy came in and started doing her own thing and kind of like pushed Jernell and Kewana off to the side when they been the ones that's been around the whole time. And then it's almost like what Jernell is saying, that Roxy didn't interfere with the threats and all of that. Like, why all of a sudden both Kewana and Jernell house get not raided, but like broken into? They receiving threats and all of those type of things. That's why I said something real fishy with that Mark D and that Roxy. Something real fishy. And I wouldn't put it past them if they were screwing each other behind closed doors, because they weird like that. Talking about they just friends, so we just got a lot of love for each other. Okay. If that's what you want us to believe.
With Naziyah. And it was a few other things, but that was the main rift that had happened with all that internet stuff. Roxy made some posts on social media about us, but it's real messed up. And it's some other things. Kewana, I don't know if you have anything you want to say.
I do actually. I have a lot I want to say on that subject. So again, like she said, for the people that's questioning who else cared, we've been there since 2022. We were making calls. We were trying to gain custody. They were denying us of doing the proper investigations because they needed a child to say that they were being abused. The calls continued to go out to CPS. We did not stop. We were still moving, trying to get help. We were still reaching out to workers. We were calling, attorneys and so on. Fast forward, again, like she stated, Roxy was supposed to, and we're planning to move here in November. When the big brother ran away, I'm not going to say his name, in September of 22, a whole lot of Facebook stuff took place. That was a result of me reaching out to Rosalind's mother, which is my older cousin, just to say, hey, I need somebody to talk to. We had begun to talk regularly, despite the family telling me not to deal with her for various amounts of things or whatever they had going on.
Yeah, I think I figured it out. 3, 2, 1 in the chat, y'all. Kewana and Jernell were the ones that was really, really rooting for these kids and really trying to make a difference. I think I think Roxy and her mama, because y'all just heard what she just said about Roxy mama. She said everybody was telling her not to deal with Roxy mama because she ain't to be trusted. I feel like they was coming in as like the monitoring, what we would call a monitoring spirit. That's what I feel like. I feel like they was coming in to make sure that the situation don't turn out the way that it needs to turn out, if that makes sense. Y'all know how monitoring spirits is. People that come around you just to monitor and make sure shit don't move in a way that it ought to move. Like, that's the vibes that I'm getting from Roxy and her mama. Now that I'm hearing this again, it's like they was trying to create blockages and delays for this process as well. And when I seen 3, 2, 1, that lets me know that was the darkness of it, because now I understand why I seen Roxy's face in a vision before I even knew a Roxy exists. I had already seen her face. When I seen her face, it gave me chills, because I'm like, but she coming around like she really for Naziyah. She down at the 36th District Court, marching around the buildings and, starting campaigns or whatnots and doing the photo shoot and interviews and all that. But it makes sense now. It makes sense.
I said, you know what? Well, we continue to converse. That day I said, hey, this is happening. She said, you know what? I'm going to call you back. I want to make this call to Annette because they talk regularly. She did that. Once she got off the phone with my aunt Annette, her daughters attacked her. My aunt Annette daughters attacked Rosalind's mother on the internet, which is Facebook. The attacks continue to come. And that's when she posts about what was going on.
Wait, let me rewind that just a little bit,
again, like she stated, Roxy was supposed to, and we're planning to move here in November. When the big brother ran away, I'm not going to say his name, in September of 22, a whole lot of Facebook stuff took place. That was a result of me reaching out to Rosalind's mother, which is my older cousin, just to say, hey, I need somebody to talk to. We had begun to talk regularly. Despite the family telling me not to deal with her for various amounts of things or whatever they had going on, I said, you know what? Well, we continue to converse. That day I said, hey, this is happening. She said, you know what? I'm going to call you back. I want to make this call to Annette because they talk regularly. She did that. Once she got off the phone with my aunt Annette, her daughters attacked her. My aunt Annette daughters attacked Rosalind's mother on the internet, which is Facebook. The attacks continue to come. And that's when she posts about what was going in the home and what was going on inside the home. Fast forward, a bunch of drama, continue to happen as far as, like she said, us being spoke about on social media. I felt like that was very, that was messed up because, like she stated, we're supposed to be family. We started this. We've been doing this. We didn't just start when Naziyah came up missing. And I put out that abuse was going on. The facts are out. Okay, the receipts are there. It was posted on Facebook, the abuse that was happening in the home. That was in September. It was put out by Roz's mother, what was going on in September in the house. That being said, everybody knew. Okay, if you follow Facebook, I at the time didn't have a Facebook. I'm gonna be real clear. And so I was getting all my information about what's going on Facebook from other people. But those that know, there was a multiple arguments. And I would just say, it was messed up that she did that to us because at the time that we were standing our ground against that household, she was still in contact with Shannon. Okay, it got to a point where she was threatening us on the internet or threatening Jernell on the internet to come and kick her ass and whoever's lying on her cousin.
It wasn't me particularly. She said anybody who lying on my cousin.
Anybody who lying on my cousin about her baby daddy, I'm coming to kick their ass. Listen, we were really dealing with this in real time. Okay, so fast forward, her agenda versus.
So she said, who was saying they was about to come kick somebody's ass? Am I missing something? That's why I like when people say names, because then I start getting confused, y'all. Who said that on the internet that they was going to kick somebody's ass? Did y'all catch that?
Happened as far as, like she said, us being spoke about on social media. I felt like that was very, that was messed up because, like she stated, we're supposed to be family. We started this. We've been doing this. We didn't just start when Naziyah came up missing. And I put out that abuse was going on. The facts are out. Okay, the receipts are there. It was posted on Facebook, the abuse that was happening in the home. That was in September. It was put out by Roz's mother, what was going on in September in the house. That being said, everybody knew. Okay, if you follow Facebook, I at the time didn't have a Facebook. I'm gonna be real clear. And so I was getting all my information about what's going on Facebook from other people. But those that know, there was a multiple arguments. And I would just say it was messed up that she did that to us, because at the time that we were standing our ground against that household, she was still in contact with Shannon. Okay, it got to a point where she was threatening us on the internet, or threatening Jernell on the internet to come and kick her ass and whoever's lying on her cousin.
It wasn't me particularly. She said anybody who lied on my cousin.
Anybody who lied on my cousin about her baby daddy pedophile, I'm coming to kick their ass. Listen, we were really dealing with this in real time. Okay, so fast forward, her agenda versus our agenda. Everybody had
Now, if that don't give y'all the confirmation that y'all need, to all the people that say, oh, I'm Team Roxy, be in my comments. She just said, I just rewinded it. Roxy was siding with Shannon and them and saying that she was going to kick anybody ass who making false accusations about her cousin and her cousin baby daddy. Did she not just say that? Now she's explaining why they are not working together, why it seemed like they're at a distance. Because I'm like, why we don't see them together, you know, doing podcasts or, you know, interviews together or doing an organization together. Kewana got her own organization going on for Naziyah, and Roxy got her own. Why is it? I get it now, because Roxy been an op from the beginning. Where is those statuses at where Roxy was talking about she was gonna kick Jernell ass? That's what I want to see, because she came out the woodworks basically as some type of savior. Like I said, her and Mark D, like they trying to help save the situation and really, you know, advocate for Naziyah, when it's really been Jernell and Kewana that's been advocating for Naziyah. But Roxy wanted to steal that spotlight. Who called her Miss Hollywood earlier? You was on point. Whoever said that.
They reasoning for wanting to. Our reason solely was because we love not just Naziyah, but all those children in the house. We were very active in their lives up until the point where I found out about the abuse. She found out the abuse, and they cut us off from being able to come get the children. You know, we were at birthdays, holidays, you name it. Okay, so I don't know how things happened the way they did. I don't know why she would do the things that she would do. You know, I brought them into the equation as far as letting her mom know what was going on. You know. So again, like she said, it was just messed up to say the things that were said about us on social media. There was lies put out there, you know, and it wasn't right.
It was our families in jeopardy, our professions in jeopardy.
And let me say this. The reason why I wasn't doing the things that they wanted me to do or she wanted me to do, because we already had the investigators letting us know we got everything we.
Roxy mama name is Kenya. Roxy mama name is Kenya.
All we need y'all to do is not compromise the case and stay out of the way. Anything that y'all do outside of that is jeopardizing the case. The things that they see coming out in court now, that's hanging him, they already had that from the beginning. The phone calls, the telephone calls, the phone numbers that they were given, we gave them. We said when it was with Detroit Public School Police, they were shedded in my eye. They weren't giving them the tablets and phones and so on. We were pressing the Detroit Public School Police and saying, oh no, she's got this tablet. She got this social media. Oh, that's not the only phone, honey. They took that phone. That phone was taken around this time. She had a phone that her mother gave her. Y'all got to go into those records and see what was going on. Okay. So we never stopped being active as far as fighting for not just Naziyah, but all the children. All the children.
And I'm really shocked about the school.
It was supposed to be a shared effort. It was supposed to be a shared effort, and they just.
She sure did, Shelly. And I was wondering, like, why would she respond with so many laughing faces in them messages? Like, it didn't make sense. It was inappropriate for the situation. And it just makes sense now that eeriness that I had about Roxy, it's all coming back together. This is my second time watching this. But again, sometimes it takes for us to watch something and listen to something more than once for us to really grasp what's really been happening. She's a fraud. And y'all know, before I got to get my facts straight, for I call anybody a fraud, but she's a fraud, and I'm seeing straight through her. I'm seeing straight through the bullshit. Now I see why her and Shannon was whispering in that house, and everybody like, what the fuck y'all whispering for? Why is y'all whispering? I thought that y'all went over there for the community and for justice for Naziyah and to get answers on what happened. But you over there whispering in a corner and listening at the door, and she a op, man. She a op. This whole time she been a distraction from this case. And I said what I said about Roxy. Roxy has been a distraction from this case. And now I understand why she acting the way that she acting now. All of a sudden, you want to part from Mark D. Yeah, because now y'all don't have shit else to do with each other no more. It ain't no reason for y'all to still communicate. Now I'm getting pissed off all over again like I didn't watch this for the first time. Because she's been playing in our faces. Roxy been playing in our face. These two are the one that needs to be in the forefront, that know the information, that's been giving out the information, that's been calling CPS, that's been doing their due diligence for Naziyah. It's Jernell and Kewana, but you see how they pushed them off to the side. They pushed them out the way. Y'all want to talk about clout? Oh, everybody, this is why they don't want us to talk about this shit. Because we gonna put our 2 and 2s together. This is why they trying to silence the community. They done pissed me off again.
Things just went to a whole.
It just went left for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. And schools are mandated reporters, so I mean, it's not like they have to prove it. Once you tell.
And I don't believe Roxy when she said she didn't know Naziyah was having a daughter. Now I absolutely believe she said what she said because she meant what she said. Roxy know a lot more than what she trying to act like she don't. What she trying to act like she don't know. She do know. She do know. You didn't make a mistake and say niece. I feel like they know exactly what was going on. She probably did go. Naziyah probably did go to the doctor. Naziyah they probably did ultrasounds, all type of shit. This don't make no damn sense. This why Naziyah ain't resting in peace. Ain't letting nobody get no rest. This why. And I know what I seen in my vision. It was Roxy. I was just trying to figure out why. I figured it out now. I ain't changing my mind, and I said what I said. And the truth will prevail. The truth will always come out. I don't care how you feel about it. It don't matter. The truth spares no feelings.
Tell a school, any school, from 0 to 12, and even college, once you tell them that there's some abuse taking place, they are mandated reporters, and that's why I guess they can't come back and tell you what they're doing. We can't. I'm a mandated reporter. I have to report anything that goes on that don't look right, or that's not right, or that a child tells me, or another family member tell me, or whatever. But I can't come back and tell. I can tell the officers or Child Protective Service, but I can't come back and give you any information. So I think that's what some things got lost in the loop,
Yeah.
And may I add this before we move on? I was very upset. And again, my appreciation goes out for the word getting put out there. Everybody had their own efforts, but I was very upset and displeased when the children's faces was put on social media. They're minors, okay? They're minors. They suffered being bullied. There was jail time given up for having to defend the bullying. The older cousin that was very close to Naziyah suffered. They were bullying her. Your daddy this, your daddy that. You got to be
the
real.
Cousins going to school and trying to go to colleges. Can you imagine in school you being harassed by other kids because somebody in your family is going through this, and then you're trying to transition into college, and then you being recognized there, and naming their names. And we didn't agree with a lot of that. We were trying to keep the other children. No one knew their names or who they, who they were. Only people only knew who Naziyah was, but it was just a lot of mess, and it's just unfortunate because that's not the route that we wanted to take.
Not at all.
And I got tough skin. What other people's do usually don't bother me, but when it started to bother me, when it started to jeopardize my job, I'm a nurse.
That's right. And children,
you calling my job,
and people coming to your house, and people throwing threats.
I had to call the Macomb County Sheriff to my house because somebody broke the lock to my front door.
Mine too. I got the pictures to show it.
And did something to my Ring camera too. So that's troubling. Like, just allowing the perception that we were involved. Like, for a long time, I was mistaken. They thought I was
Then they went over there and harassed Kewana and Jernell, basically tried to bully them and intimidate them and silence them. Y'all see the foolery here that's happening? Same old damn tactic. Same thing.
Auntie Shannon. You know, so I realize, you know, oh, they mistaken me because I'm saying I'm her aunt. They're mistaking me for Shannon. Get that. But to have some people who you're supposed to be working with to basically put things out in a social media that, I mean, I'm not gonna say they weren't true, but that they didn't agree with, and then have other people jump on the bandwagon of attacking you. That's just like that's just kind of pretty, you know. It's
This Jarvis guy has really disrupted you guys' life.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Let's put it where it goes. This Jarvis guy, for years and years and years, have just disrupted the whole family and the community.
Absolutely.
It's not you guys. It's not Naziyah. It's this Jarvis guy got out of prison. We tried to help him in a place where he should have been rehabilitated, but he came out and did the same thing and just did more harm. Just did more and more harm. All of this is him. Like the judge called him today, a monster.
A monster.
He's a monster.
He is.
And he needs to go back and not return.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. This whole thing has been devastating for us. And I mean, like, the most devastating, of course, is Naziyah. But the next thing will be the fact that we don't have a relationship with the children. Like,
absolutely.
Shannon's oldest daughter, her and Shannon lived with me for about 2 years.
Wow.
Like I told you, me and Shannon was thick as thieves. She lived with me for 2 years. Her oldest daughter called me Auntie Mommy.
Wow.
Like, my kids miss them. Like, my son is 22 years old now, and he like, what? Like, I had to have a conversation with them about, like, you know, when you was kids and Shannon was living with me, did he ever come over? Yeah, he came over, but he never came past the front door. You know, it was only 15 minutes. But just to hear all this stuff on social media, he pissed. Like, I wish I had to pay more attention. But then again, he couldn't pay more attention because I knew that he was a sex offender, and I kind of kept my kids from over there. They would be invited to birthday parties. They didn't come because I couldn't. Right. I wasn't leaving my kids over there.
No, never.
No, so it was like, I would call the kids, tell them happy birthday, maybe get them something to eat, or we'll swing by as a family, do ice cream and cake, say hello, keep on going, or we just didn't go because I just couldn't trust that.
I don't know a woman. I don't know if you guys do, Deborah, Kewana, Jernell. I don't know a woman that if a man spent that many years in prison for rape, I'm just gonna say it like it is, for raping children, would allow them to come into her home and be around her children. I don't understand that part. I don't care. My husband is nice looking. I'm sure you guys have nice looking husbands. But if he raped somebody, I thought he raped somebody, you can't be with me. You can't be around me.
No, absolutely not.
I don't care. The looks has nothing to do with it. It's your actions.
Nope.
I mean, I don't understand how somebody let somebody sleep in your house like that.
Low self-esteem. Yeah. I used to always talk to her like, why is you staying with him? And one time she told me, you don't understand, that's my children's father. I'm like, girl, he everybody daddy. He got babies between your babies.
No,
I gave her a baby shower. He was supposed to come and so-called help. He was so busy trying to rush up out there to go to another girl who was having a baby.
Oh.
Like, and I was like, you don't deserve this. These kids deserve better. You could do better.
Yeah.
That's my kid's daddy. I said,
and they're not going to have any Social Security.
Nothing, because he ain't never had no real job.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I think that we need to point out too. And it's a couple things because there's a question that someone asked about Roxy. I want to direct it to Kewana. But here's something that we need to think about on social media, audience and everyone that is watching us that's under the sound of our voices, is that be careful. You know, people become emotional and things like that. I've had to more or less break up fights in the comment section because people would start going at each other's throat and this and that and the other. But you can't get to a point where, you know, you want to take it to real life. These are, you know, people are real people and things like that. We forget the fact, and I have to admit, I rarely even think about it with a person like a Jarvis Butts that's such a monster. I can't think of another word off the top of my head. Even with a monster like Jarvis Butts, he has children, innocent children, right? Then number one, are probably being abused themselves, because it doesn't sound like this guy discriminates. And then number two, that have to go to school, interact in their communities and all of that kind of stuff. We have to learn how to manage our emotions and all of that stuff. Nobody should be coming home with their car vandalized, and this is ridiculous.
That's right.
You know, and this is why it's important that the world starts to see these two ladies, because it's not like they weren't, because they were there from day one. I saw it in the comments earlier. These two have been there since 10 toes down since day one. I think I put it on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody out there remembers y'all, and y'all backed away from media exposure. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's what it is. Like, I never wanted my name in lights. I wanted Naziyah's name in lights. I'm a quiet person, and because of the job that I have, I work with people who are not guilty by reason of insanity, that are out in the community. So I can't have my name out there like on social media everywhere. I chose to do this to clear it up.
That's right.
I've been quiet and been working behind the scenes. And maybe I would have did things differently if I hadn't been told from day one, stand down. Thank you for the information. We got everything we need.
That's right. That's right. And if you recall our first interview, we had our faces blotted out and our voices disguised.
Because they recommended it to us for our protection, because we didn't know what we was dealing with. We didn't know what was going on. We was down at the police, in the meetings with the police chief. We was down there with the council, the community council for Detroit. We was talking to the police commissioner was by our side pretty much every day, on the phone with us almost every single day.
The organized searches.
Yep, to give us flyers, talk to us, keep us in the loop about things.
Do y'all hear what they saying? They had already made the necessary connections to get shit moving for Naziyah Harris. I really feel like Roxy came in and swapped with them. She swapped with what Kewana and Jernell was doing. Now she's become the face. Now she's the one seemingly to be making the connections. She came in and swapped with them. Y'all want to know about Destiny Swap? That was a version of it right there. She came in, figured out what they was doing and how they was doing it, and she started to make the necessary connections like them and move them out the way.
Express our concerns and stuff like that. We talked to the head detectives a few days after the 14th when everything became televised. They found out about Clinton Township from me.
Sure did.
They didn't even know that she lived in Clinton Township.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we was quiet, because they told us, pass out flyers, keep her name out there. We remaining hopeful, but this is a recovery effort.
Yeah, sure did. And we knew that. Yes, absolutely. And I made it clear. I made that clear that that's what they said.
Who go looking for bodies in the water? Go look and do that big of a search the day after announcement in some water. We already knew what it was. They had already explained that what was most likely was going to be the scenario.
Sure did.
So why would we go in abandoned houses and following leads from other social media representatives, falsifying information, and go accusing other people and defaming other people's characters who are trying to defend themselves against these allegations and different things like that? Why would we go and do that? So people really got mad at us because we wasn't out there doing a lot of that. But that just was my choice not to do that. And who am I to tell the other person who was doing it not to do it? So, right. But that was just real hurtful that it ended up like that. And then to the point where the sheriff is driving past my house every single night to make sure that nobody else vandalized anything or try to break. They broke the lock on my front door and broke my Ring camera.
Yeah. And guess what? Days after that, our lock was off the front door. I have the pictures to show. Sure was. So at that point, we were like, "Oh no!"
I still got the death threats. I got the death threats in my thing. I get so many messages from people like saying off the wall stuff.
It's craziness, and and what's crazy?
Roxy know more than what she's betraying herself to know. Roxy knows more. You say she swapped with them for personal gain. Absolutely.
To me is, for the judgmental people, I have seen half of them come out. It's easy to sit behind your TV screen or your phone and pass judgment when you're not out doing anything about it. They didn't come out. They weren't those at those meetings with us with the police chief and organized searches and so on. They were behind their phone screens with their wine and their popcorn.
It's a handful of people who have actually went out and did. Well, I can't say for like the search efforts when they was going to the house, because I didn't go to any of that. But as far as the protests that we did and things like that, 5 to 7 people, they know who you are. Thank you. So they've been here since day one. Day one. But as far the people who was, doing all that stuff, I ain't never seen those people.
Well, did Jarvis live in Clinton Township or River Rouge area?
Deborah asked me that. Jarvis' papa was a Rolling Stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home.
It was his home.
He went from one girl house to the other house, to the Shannon house, to the Net house, to the hotel, to the shop, he slept wherever.
The double lives, honey, but he lived quadruple. He had everything down pat. He would be in one lady house at this time, from that time, 2 a.m. Boom, he didn't let that, and she got to.
That's what I said. The one. She said he leave at 2 o'clock. I said, the other girl must work at Chrysler because they get off at 3 a.m. So he had to get home.
He was in her house.
Then he get up and go and take the kids to school for Shannon. Then go to work and recruit more women while he was at the shop, because he met most of them at the shop. Then go wherever he was going in the afternoon. So I don't know where that man lived at.
Listen, the judge said today when she was giving her ruling, she said, at first I thought you had a mental disability, because it was like you had the mind of a 10-year-old. Did y'all hear her when she said that today? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean,
see, y'all could pick up on Jernell's and Kewana's energy. Y'all could tell that their energy is genuine to me. I don't feel no resistance from their energy. I feel like they genuinely wanted to help Naziyah, and they were genuinely making the necessary moves and connections to make sure that they were able to get Naziyah justice and start an organization for other people and children that are dealing with the same thing. Y'all get what I'm saying? And then as far as Roxy go, y'all know I like to break down things numerically. I've already broken down Roxy's name. I know her name is Rosalind, but I broke down Roxy Rox because that's what she go by. So numerically, when this is done, I could tell y'all what I got from her name numerically and a part that she played in this operation. Okay. Because this was absolutely an operation. And then it was an attack on Jernell and Kewana because they were genuine. And they were going against the grain.
I mean, I can't think of any other word for Jarvis, but scumbag, literal, just awful. But somebody asked a question. Pam Esquire, she's an attorney and fellow YouTuber. She was asking, was Jarvis on the sex registry, and why was he being allowed to be around children? You might have left out and came back in, Pam. There was at some point after he did his prison time that he was not on. Somehow he did not get on the sex registry, correct?
Yeah.
Right. But eventually, through a series of happenings, he did properly get placed on the sex registry and has been on ever since. And of course, we know. But
his last report date was 2019.
Yeah, he hasn't reported for that. So the thing that even the police, that's why I said it's a big systemic failure, because they should have been looking for him.
They should have picked him up. He was not what do you call it?
Multiple arrests between that time.
Yeah.
This is second gun charge since he's been released from prison.
Yeah. I don't know. Is it because he's cute?
Cute.
I mean, I don't understand what's happening.
He slipped through the cracks.
He got a gift of gab.
Yeah. I haven't seen.
You see how he tried to talk his way out of everything. He got the gift of gab, and he's slick, and he know how. You see how he sit in that courtroom and stay under the radar? Quiet as a mouse.
But can I ask a question? Why he got all these women with a mask on?
Oh, he don't either. I assumed at first he didn't want nobody to see his face, but now I'm thinking it's because he got bruises.
Yeah, it's because he done got beat up so bad and that lip busted and his teeth knocked out. Because there's no way he can go with all these thousands of people and be scared of germs. Go ahead on. You in jail with 10 or 15 people.
Right. I'm happy she made him stand up at the end, but I wish he had to sit down.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Say it again.
I saw the bruises on the side of his face, on the eyes and all that. But I'm gonna say he did it to himself. I don't believe nobody in that jail cell did that.
And to all the inmates that's tuned in, and if they run across this, thank you. Keep it going.
Go viral. Go viral.
He need to suffer every single day for the rest of his life. And hopefully
he will.
One of some of that stuff to tell us where she is, because that's my main goal now.
Children. He's a danger to all of our children.
All the way around. Because women ain't safe around him either, especially if they have young daughters.
And I don't think a lot of people know, like everybody know these charges for Naziyah, but there are 8 other children, 8 other 8 other cases. One of
So
the
he's
trials
not through
are,
going to court.
oh no, he go to court on the 16th to be bonded over for Naziyah. Then it's another trial starting on the 17th for the sexual molestation of another child under the age of 13. It's multiple.
Oh, you
He's
know
just
what?
like
I
the
did.
doctor that went to
Yeah.
jail. What's that doctor
All
name
these
that went to
charges are
jail?
not just Naziyah. There
You're
are
right.
other children
You're right.
dating back to 2015 whose families have came forward, or they are adults now and they came forward, or they're teenagers and came forward and said he did the same.
Oh, he's another one of those. What's that doctor name that went to jail for molesting all them, the sports person?
Oh yeah, the Michigan
up there
State
in
or
Michigan,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
something
in
like
that
that.
category. Same
Yeah.
category.
But you know, and then even in this case, he's got charges for 2 other girls underage, whatever, criminal sexual conduct combined into Naziyah's case. I think a lot of people don't know that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my
he's
friend,
gonna
I
get
haven't had the time to look because I've been focusing on the preliminary, but somebody told me it was some additional charges put on Tuesday. So
I heard the one today. I heard
there was some additional charges on Tuesday. So I don't know.
I'll look it up.
I know a temp charge was put on him with the little girl that testified. That's a
I think that's what it was after her testimony.
After her
charges
testimony,
at him.
With an intent to do sexual.
And he made them watch. He made other children watch.
Right. You know what? That boy need to go on somewhere. Where is his? Who is he?
Yeah.
No one's asked who is this person. Everybody's out after an innocent family, and I thank God for Tawana. I think that was her name, coming forth, and that had to be hard because I love my brothers with all my heart. I love my brothers, but I'm not going to stand behind wrong.
Yeah,
and I admire her for doing that. But if his family has got to be hurting because this is insane.
Yeah,
brother, what did we do? What happened to you?
Yeah.
Something. That's what my mind.
Something happened to him.
What did somebody do to you? Did we not get you the proper help at the proper time? There's something else going on.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. I think we're gonna find out as the time goes on. It's gonna be more and more. This thing is so it's mind-boggling type of insane. Like it's just you couldn't make it up. That you wouldn't believe it if they made a movie out of it. But I want to go ahead and get ready to wrap up. I want to ask Yana and Jernell, let's do this again.
Yes.
Because this case is going to keep going on, and I think that we need to continue a pattern of educating the public and stamping out misinformation and things like that. We'll make decisions about it. We'll touch base and all of that. But I want to, hopefully you guys will come back so that we can, so that we can keep this going. And I think it would help a lot of things. And like I said, the misinformation, and I saw a lot of things today. Somebody thought that the family had put it out, that Shannon and her mother had put it out, that was trying to say that Jarvis was autistic. And I knew it was a situation with an autistic person as it relates to Naziyah. But this is what happened when these little stories get out. It gets so twisted, and it's not even close to the truth anymore by the time it circles back around. So, but I want to close out, and one of the things that I want to do, I always like to do when I do these live broadcasts, interviews, things like that, is to give out resources. Kewana said something very dear to my heart. Y'all excuse me. This case, I have to say, this is the only case that I never know when I'm gonna bust out crying. I'm not getting ready to cry, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. But Kewana said something to me earlier today that I think is the most important thing as it stands right now, and that is to get to some solutions.
Absolutely.
And I think that the way that we do that is a part of the way that we do that is to be able to give people resources and things like that. And I want to direct the audience to the community wall on the channel on Community Advocate Network. I do post if you're in Michigan, especially if you're in the state of Michigan where we are. I try to give resources for various things to help people, because some of these situations is just like there is a very excellent program called Covenant House here in Detroit. They have 2 locations, I believe, in Detroit and in Grand Rapids. I believe they take teens up to 24 years old. There are teen homelessness is like much bigger than what I realized. So, and there's a couple of other resources that Ms. Lori Clark Horton has provided for the network. And I have them all posted on the community wall. It's been a minute, so you're going to have to scroll a little bit, or I'll repost them again. But it's very important that you guys find out what is out there and what is available for various situations. I don't care if you need help getting your light bill paid or whatever. But in this case, we want to start finding ways and improving ourselves as a community to protect our children. This insanity, as Lori called it, has to stop.
That's right.
Jarvis Bus cannot operate in our community. It's got to stop. Okay, so we're going to talk some more. I'm not going to preach tonight, y'all. I'm not going to preach tonight, but Kewana shared with me something extremely important that she is trying to work on, and I'm going to close out with this. With a nonprofit organization in honor of Naziyah Harris. And I would like for, if you don't mind, Kewana, sharing that with the audience.
Absolutely. I'm working on some projects now to honor Naziyah. All proceeds will go towards helping young women that has been in abusive and sexually abusive situations. And there's more to come with that. I will come back and disclose all information. It's being built up now. And so stay tuned, because I'm coming. We're coming.
Amen to that.
Amen.
I wouldn't be surprised if they try to blackball Kewana and make it hard for her organization to thrive. I wouldn't be surprised. Probably why we ain't heard nothing else from Kewana and Jernell. They probably just like, I'm done. They'll just stay behind the scenes.
To that. So I think, you know what? I almost forgot one last thing, because I did find a GoFundMe account on Facebook. So can you all tell us about the GoFundMe?
We didn't start a GoFundMe account at all. Actually, we felt it was premature for a GoFundMe. What do we need a GoFundMe account for? Originally, when we discussed the GoFundMe, we said the money would go towards a reward for more information or the conviction or something like that for Naziyah. We never can get it worked out with Crime Stoppers and everything, so that's where it went pause. Right. I guess the GoFundMe is supposed to be for a funeral or memorial for Naziyah. I personally think it's premature. We haven't even got the conviction.
That's right.
So in cases like these, the police asked us about it. We told them that we were not associated with the GoFundMe. They said because in situations like this, when children are killed or murdered or whatever, the police have funds for that. Absolutely. And not only that, community advocates, different funeral homes, floral shops, they all come together and fund it. So no, I am not, and Kewana, I'm sure you can say the same. We are not associated with a GoFundMe account. Although the evidence is out there and everything, we just feel like, for what? It just, unless it's gonna help find her body or get more information for them to put the clues together to find her body.
And that's how y'all know that Roxy was the opposition in this whole situation of finding Naziyah and making a change and a difference. She started the GoFundMe. She claimed that it was for what did she claim it was for exactly? I gotta remember, but I know it wasn't for what Jernell just said it was for. Yeah, she said it was for a burial. And she wanted to make sure that she got it out the way and she had the funds and she don't want to do nothing last minute. So she canceled the GoFundMe. She refunded everybody back their money because she was getting too much backlash from the GoFundMe. Now she's selling clothes. Where those proceeds going, who knows? Maybe to this organization that she getting together that's going to be an organization for this same type of operation to take place in regards to children. I'm really side-eyeing Roxy for real, y'all. And besides the fact that I wrote down her name numerical breakdown, I was still trying to like not say it because I'm like, dang, this what it really is, what's going on. But This just confirmation, y'all. It's confirmation. And you can see how Kewana body movement moved when they asked her about the GoFundMe. She like, we ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't even know why she started a GoFundMe.
That's right.
We're going to pray that he tells the
There's
family
nobody
and the community where their body is.
Yes.
He's spending too much time in prison. He's going to be in prison the rest of his life. There's nothing to lose.
Yeah, even if he don't convicted of the murder. You're 42, 25 years onto that. And then if you get convicted of any of these other sex crimes against children, those are additional 25 years. So you're not getting out regardless. So take the murder charge and tell us where she at. Take the plea deal or whatever, tell us where she at.
But unfortunately, Jernell, we've had cases like this before. One that was very dear to my heart. The guy got almost 80 years. I think he got 80 years, and he still won't tell some.
Yep.
Because that's going to add. That's like that. Let them hear that word life. Yep. And that's what they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
They can hear 80 years, but they don't want to hear life.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
It takes away their sense of hope.
Right.
Yep, I get that. Yep. So hopefully, if to end it, I guess if anybody has any information to fill these holes or want to come forward and start telling the truth, this is the time. This is your opportunity. People been lying on this, like the judge said, on perjuring themselves in my courtroom. Start telling the truth so we can at least find this girl body.
That's right.
And put her to rest.
I will certainly be praying for you guys, for your families. I will be definitely praying that God come into play and he will make a difference. Trust me. He's going to fix it. It's going to be fixed.
Yeah, that's what I did. I've been, first in the beginning, I have a bad habit of working instead of praying. And after man failed me so many times, I have no choice but in God's hands.
Amen.
Yes, I agree with that. I second that. I have, you know what? If I haven't learned to do anything here lately, it's to pray. We all fall short of the glory. Sometimes we fall off of our belief and faith when things happen. But you know what? You got to hold on to something. And so I'm holding on to that. And yes, I've been in prayer regularly lately, and that's something I had stopped doing. Again, as she said, when man fail you, sometimes you throw your hands up. And so I've been throwing my hands up, but and from a different light, and that's to pray and just ooh, yes.
It's gonna be all right.
All right. So I definitely think that we got off on a bad start tonight, everybody. Those of you that are here with us, we were just having the technical difficulties like crazy. Everything was going wrong tonight. And so we got a late start, and I'm just kind of thrown off. I was trying to have everything organized, but we got through it. And I hope that this at least gives you guys a smidgen of in the process of healing. Because Naziyah is a victim to us, but she's your family. And so I was very, very wanting to be very sensitive to this situation with you ladies coming here today. And so I hope that we accomplished that. I hope that you got to share some things that you needed to, and if not, I hope you'll come back.
Oh, we will.
And to be able to give the public is concerned about Naziyah. She really has kind of touched the world. I have people on my lives this week from London, the UK, Africa, all over the world. That
I think they expected the community in the world to just look at this Naziyah Harris case as just another little black girl that was taken advantage of, that nobody cared about. So therefore the world or the community don't care about. They didn't expect us to be dragging this case on to this day. They didn't expect that. So I'm going to stop sharing that right now. And then I'm going to share something else with y'all really quick. And then I'm going to get off of live. because I just want to show y'all how Roxy Rox's name breaks down numerically. Okay, so let me show this, especially for the people that's going to catch the replay that's interested in this as well, and because we want to see the facts. Okay, so according to gematria, right, Roxy Rox, can y'all see that? All right, so let me share my screen a little bigger. Now, Roxy Rox breaks down to, most words will break down to 3 different numbers. Okay, whole numbers. So it'll be, well, not whole numbers, but it'll be 1, it'll be 2, and then it'll be 3. So the numbers that align with different words of this number sequence, a few of those was September 11th, which is 911. That's not ironic, right? 911. So because we know that the police was involved, we know that 9/11 is just significant with this case. Okay, preponderance of evidence. That was another word that aligned with one of these 3 numbers right here. Then you got what was another word that aligned? You got COVID-19 that aligned with Roxy. You got the word, the whole thing. Okay, literally. So Roxy Rox is representing the face of this whole Roxy Rox is representing the propaganda. So she's the face of this tragedy, right? She's the one that's coming in as the savior. They always have the same agenda. Okay, it's just different tactics, and they always have somebody to come in and play savior. Okay, so Roxy Rox is the propaganda. She's appearing to be the savior. Okay, with hardly any facts, right? We know she don't really got no real facts. It's all hearsay. Okay, and we know that this is a strategic operation because nothing is a coincidence and we live in a matrix. Everything is based off numbers. Okay, y'all know I broke down Naziyah's name the other day as well. Now, Roxy Rox also resonate with the term Tavis stock. Okay, Tavis stock. Now ask me, what is Tavis stock? ISIS, what is Tavis stock? When you look up Tavis stock, you're gonna get Tavis stock method. Okay, what is the Tavis stock method? It is a psychological. Where my words going? Where my words going? Hold on, y'all. Let me back it up. So September 11th, remember that, right? Because she working with the police force. This facts, okay? This is facts. Now, Tavis stock method is a psychological and social manipulation technique that's rooted in principles, like rooted in the principles. I probably should have wrote this down, but I didn't know I was going to do this. So just bear with me, y'all. I'm just trying to show y'all what I have on my notebook. Principles of behavioral science. Okay. And group dynamics. This is how I know they all working together. Group dynamics. Okay, and they say, and propaganda developed and refined by institutions. This is why Roxy is trying to create she's trying to do a law change. Oh no, go spit that out in the garbage. Go put that in the garbage. Hold on, y'all. Go, let's go do your TV. Okay. If y'all keeping up with what I'm saying, just put a thumbs up or a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you're keeping up with what I'm saying. Let me add this right here. Tavis, stop. Okay. Let's put a one in the chat if you're keeping up. So basically, these numbers help us see what's happening on an energetic and multidimensional perspective. Everything that we see is a manifestation of what's happening energetically. So when I say I'm breaking things down numerically, seemingly what I'm saying is I'm breaking down the energy and how it unfolds numerically and how it manifests in the 3D. Okay? Okay, we got some ones in the chat, so y'all keeping up. So basically, the energy that is being worked through Roxy is the Tavis Scott method, which is a psychological and social manipulation technique. So it's a manipulative energy, okay? And the purpose of this energy is to control group dynamics, okay? Group dynamics. You said what is the universal language? The universal language is really symbols, but all symbols can break down numerically, okay? Now, where did I leave off at? Okay, and propaganda developed and refined by institutions. It says the Tavis Stock Institute of Human Relations. It was founded in 1947 in London. Over time, the name has become associated with theories of social engineering and psychological manipulation. So basically, what this Tavis Stock method has been used for over time, it has been morphing into like a more complex operation tailored to whatever the situation that they need to that they need to like operate to create this strategic operation and then ultimately siphon the energy, because that's what it's really about. It's about siphoning the energy, okay? And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what they're doing. Roxy was she came as the preponderance of evidence. Let's look up another word for preponderance. Because to me, that's basically saying she was tampering with evidence. Okay? Clearly. Because she didn't want Kewana or Jernell to get the real truth out. Luckily, they went on that podcast and said what they said. So preponderance of evidence is almost like saying like swaying. So swaying of evidence, control of evidence, pervasiveness. That's what preponderance means. Pervasiveness, to put a hold on something. Stop. Don't do that. Okay. So that's just some extra words to give you a better context. Y'all, I feel really hot. I feel really, really hot after that's basically what it is. If I had to sum up my notes, that's basically what it is, okay? So we know that COVID-19 was an operation too. We know that was a strategic pandemic to control the eugenics, because it's all about controlling the population. It's all about siphoning the energy. It's all about power, dominance, and control. And then it's about eugenics. So they create the problem, and they also appear as the solution. That's the energy that is working through Roxy. And then it may be hard for people to recognize that, because most people look at light-skinned people as, and I hate to put it that way, but most people look at light-skinned people as innocent, or like, you know what I mean? Or even white people, they look at white people as innocent. They just had this complex with colorism. So to look at Roxy, it looks like she's genuine, but her energy is reading something different. And then I'm gonna just say this: it's 1:11 on the clock. The only purpose for Roxy to create a organization for children, or whatever it is that she's trying to do, because a lot of times with these matrix operations, they want to change the law. They want to change the law, but it's going to be in the benefit of their sick operations. It's not going to be a true savior to actually save and protect the children and do what's in the best interest of the children. Because if that were the case, we will already have these laws in place that really protect the children. This is not it. She's trying to create an organization for children so that this operation can have more access to children, like under the radar, where nobody really questioned it. Nobody's, you get what I'm saying? Like they can hide under this operation, just like they would do CPS or any other organization that claims to care for children. Yes. Yes. Yep. Just another form of energy siphoning. The number 69 was with her too. That Freemasonry. It really goes deep. But I'm gonna just say that, and I hope that y'all get what I'm saying. You said like reporting to the school police under the radar, right? Under the radar. And I'm telling y'all, when it break down numerically, I know it's facts. It's facts. Because all words is numbers. All words is numbers. Yep. So that's that, y'all. I was supposed to put my presentation together so I can have everybody name broken down. Everybody name. Everybody name. Everybody name. Because it's so many different hands that is in this operation with children. It's so many. It's so many. Um the Nazis, Nazism got a hand in it. Okay. Nazism. Told y'all the Nazi is in Naziyah's name. Okay. This was a Nazi. A Nazi. Yeah. Nazi is in Naziyah's name, y'all. Y'all interjection. Nothing is a coincidence. Nothing. Now, I'm not saying that Naziyah was like willfully a part of this organization. She was just a pawn. She was a pawn. You said, "Oh, that sounds awesome." You say no. Yeah. So if you get it, you get it. Okay. If you get it, you get it. We live in a society that is ran by dark occultism. Dark occultism. Human sacrifice, human consumption, cannibalism, child sacrifice is a real thing. Harvesting humans is a real thing. Literally eating flesh is a real thing. They think that they can get the most purest energy when they eat children, when they eat them, especially melanated people. They eat melanated people. No exaggeration. This is facts. Oh, I get what you're saying. I got you. Yeah. We got to educate ourselves. So that's why I try to educate y'all as much as I can in my content, because this is no game. It's no joke. This shit get deep. It get nasty. It get ugly. It get mercury. It gets disgusting. And all we see is what they show us on the news. All we see is what they want us to see. But now we have more access to other forms of obtaining information and knowledge by way of content creators, you know. So the information could still be taught. It's still reachable. But they don't want us to tell y'all none of these things, because why? It blows their cover. It blows their cover. Roxy is a pawn if you want to consider her one. But all I'm saying is the energy that's working through her and around her, and what it breaks down numerically, is she's a part of the operation. Just like Mark D is. Just like Shannon is. Just like Annette is. Just like all of their asses is. The energies are old energies. Like, these energies operate through and have been operating for centuries, like ancient dark energies. It's just it's just what it is. It's just what it do. You get what I'm saying? The people that we see are just vessels for these malevolent forces to work through. Okay? Very old, evil, dark energy. Yes. Very old, dark energies. And it absolutely is a ring. It's a human trafficking ring. It's a pedo ring. It's an energy siphon ring. And then that ring has another ring, and that inside that ring is like rings within a ring within a ring within a ring. But I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna let y'all go because I know sometimes this type of information can go over people's head. But if you want to hear more about this, I'm going to be talking about this on my Patreon. Join the Patreon, okay? It's $20 a month. And we're going to dive deep into all this dark occult knowledge and just occult knowledge altogether. Okay? Because it don't always have to be dark and wicked. Okay? It's just hidden knowledge. It's just hidden knowledge. Just like we feel like, being loving beings and not having to kill people to energy siphon from them. They're the total opposite. They see nothing wrong with unaliving children and siphoning energy and doing things like that to gain power. Okay, so I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for all the cash apps, the likes, the shares, the follows. You said I remind you of Bobby Hemmett. That's so funny because Bobby Hemmett, His energy be with me all the time. I call him Uncle Bobby. And when it's time for Bobby to come through and teach me something, show me something, he do it every time. Matter of fact, I was reading a book earlier about how they consume melanin people. And that book was edited by Bobby Hemmett. So that's just confirmation for me, King B. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, I studied this, you know, and I'm not saying I know everything because I don't follow a lot of teachers, but Bobby Hemmett will be my number one. He will be the number one for me. And I highly recommend y'all go and search his content. He got content. Okay, he got YouTube videos, and go learn something. Go learn you something from Uncle Bobby Hemmett and Brother Panic. Brother Panic too. You say, but it ain't good. The occult is evil. Leave it alone. It depends on your perspective. That's what to cap your consciousness right there, thinking that we're not supposed to and tap into occult. We are. You cap your own consciousness. You stunt your own growth spiritually when you think you're not supposed to study the occult. That's rather good or bad. How are you going to know who your enemy is if you don't even know what tricks they're using on you? I just told y'all, I just showed y'all what type of operation that's behind this whole Naziyah case by way of Tavis stock method. That is a psychological and social manipulation technique. So if you're afraid of dark occult, you're going to miss this type of operation and its tactics because you think you're not supposed to tap into the dark occult and study your enemy. If that's your opposition. Yeah. So yeah, you if you really want to keep ascending and growing spiritually, I'm gonna need you to not shy away and not and get what Uncle Bobby say. Get rid of that spookism. You got to get rid of the spookism if you want to see the truth. Ain't nothing too wild and too crazy. Because when you think it's too crazy and too wild, it gets deeper. It gets uglier. It gets crazier. It gets darker. Okay? All right. You say the world is black and white. Dichotomy. Elevate your mindset instead of embracing it. Right. Elevate your mind. Elevate your mind. Elevate your mind. What is that?
Voice preparation.
All right, y'all. It's 1, 2, 3 on the clock. I think that's my cue. All right. Y'all be easy. Y'all be smooth. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your day. And be mindful. Be mindful of your thoughts. Be mindful of your thoughts. Healthy seeds, healthy roots, healthy fruits. I'll catch y'all next time, all right? Peace, love, light, and darkness. Ashe. All right, now.